Turn the radio on a Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated. The fact is, you can't look at that television and say, nothing happened on the 6th. You can't listen to people who say this was a peaceful march. No, I'm serious. Think about it. Think of the things being said. I've been through the other end of this when the Democrats 35 years ago were way off to the other side. Many times Republicans in the right place. I don't mean that the Republicans, it's only the Democratic point of view. But some of the stuff, I mean, QAnon, the idea that the Democrats or the Biden is hiding people and sucking the blood of children and no, I'm serious.
That was our illustrious president, the leader of the free world, the commander-in-chief, the man with that little nuclear football suitcase, whatever thingy. Whenever he gets on and off a helicopter, some guy's following with him a suitcase. That's the guy. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Did you watch it last night, Ryan? Because I really tried. I did. I gave it like 5 or 6 minutes and I said, I'm out.
I watched it in clips like usual, just waiting for the highlights or the lowlights. And we'll be playing those today.
Yeah, we will. And I'll watch the entire thing. I'll take one for the team because that is what I do, right? So we all do this for a living. We're in the news. And I just, it was all a bunch of softball questions. It started out with COVID and this and that. And nobody challenges him on anything. And the man can barely get through a sentence. And, it's not even funny anymore. It's not funny that he's hardly getting the words out anymore. This is a man in charge of, a lot of things that could really affect our lives. So we'll share some clips with you over the course of the show because I know 98% of the people listening right now did not watch it. I don't blame you. There are things you can do like detail your car, anything, or rearrange your sock drawer. Anything is more interesting than watching Joe Biden speak. But okay, we got a lot to get to today. Tyrus is going to join us next hour. We'll talk with him about a couple of things. Looking forward to that. Eric Clapton's coming out about the COVID-19 vaccine and places that require people to get a vaccine. By the way, he got the vaccine. We'll tell you why he really got panicked about it after he did it. Get to all that. Kevin Wheeler will join us in the third hour. We'll talk with him about the Olympic Committee. I love the fact that the female soccer players got their butts handed to them after sitting there and kneeling for the national anthem. I love it. I love it. We'll talk with Kevin Wheeler about that coming up in a little bit. Have you guys noticed any outages today on the internet? Apparently, there's a website I wasn't even aware of that keeps track of all these things that says that major travel and financial websites all over the country are down today.
Oh, that's interesting and good to know because last night I was trying to look at prices for places on VRBO and it wouldn't pull anything up. And I thought maybe it was just me, but it apparently was not.
No, there's a website. There's actually a website that talks about this. That's crazy. It's called downdetector.com. I'm not even making that up. And I looked on the website, and there are tons of websites. I'll tell you something else that happened this morning. And I know a lot of people aren't on Twitter, but a lot of people are. And the one thing I use Twitter for, mainly, obviously outreach, dialoguing with people, I mainly use Twitter for news. I find it to be handy for news because I like to see news coming from all different directions, right? I'm not a big fan of getting on some of these other websites. Everybody says, go to Gab, go to Parler, go to Gitter, whatever that is at Trump's, whatever it is. But I don't want to hear an echo chamber. I want to read what everybody's saying, different perspectives, right? So now, this morning, I was on Twitter earlier today, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I went to log on to it again for something, and now they want your phone number. And they'll send you a code if you give them your phone number. No, I'm out. Try it.
That's been a thing for a few years, though. Like asking for your phone number for a login code.
Well, they want that for certain sites like StreamYard, like we use. I use that for other things, and they want a login code. I get that. Or they'll send you, the code actually in your email. But I've never had Twitter ask for my phone number to log in. They
That's
ask for your
strange.
name. Yeah, try it, Ryan. What's it doing for
I'm
you
logging
today?
onto my phone right now, and it's not asking me that. But I wonder if it's because
Okay.
I've already been.
I
logged
think
in.
I think it asks for your phone number as a two-factor authentication
no,
or
this
whatever
is a new thing, right? I get
when
it.
you
This is
log
a new
into a
thing.
new device.
Now, this is a new thing today. This won't let me get on at all on devices I've already been on, and it won't let me do it. And now I did try. I thought, okay, I'll try to post a picture. I posted a picture of the little handiwork that my husband did with my desk this morning, because he literally took a drill and drilled a little chunk out of the desk and whatever. I'll put that on Twitter because people like that kind of stuff. I don't know if you guys can see this, but if you look at my Twitter thing, I try to go in and it says, enter the phone number you'd like to associate with your Twitter account. We will call you with the verification code.
Oh, okay. So that's because you never set up the two-factor authentication.
No, wrong. But here's the thing. I've always gotten on it without needing this every single day,
Heidi,
including this morning.
Okay, so here's this is happening right now. I'm logging onto Twitter and multiple devices. It's not asking me that, but I just typed in your name, Heidiology, or is it Heidi Harris Show?
I have two. I have
Okay.
Heidiology at Gmail. I mean Heidiology at Twitter, and then I have Heidiology at Heidi Harris Show on the Twitter.
So Heidi Harris Show is restricted. It's telling me this account is temporarily restricted. So you've
I
been
wonder
blocked.
what I did. I wonder what I did to tick off the Twitter gods. I don't know, but they were asking for my phone number. I'm not giving them my phone number. That's not going to happen.
No, don't do that.
Into that. No.
So
now
your page is blocked though. So I don't know what you're
Okay.
going to do in the meantime, but
Well, who cares? I'll
Yeah,
live
who
without it. Believe me, it'll give me more time in my day. Okay, so let me check something else now. I have another Twitter account. Let me check this one and see if this is letting me see. I got kicked off Twitter once a year or so ago because I tweeted a hashtag that was so innocuous. It was ridiculous. It was the hashtag was "Let Women Decide." There was a joke going around on the internet. Oh, you men stay home. Let women decide who the next politicians are. Right. I used that hashtag. So did James Woods, the actor, the very conservative actor. Both of us got kicked off Twitter for that. That innocuous comment, or the hashtag "Let Women Decide." Okay, so I was off for a while. I honestly didn't miss it much. I got to tell you the truth. But I have a backup one, and that's my Heidiology at Twitter. Heidiology.
okay, gotcha.
Okay. So anyway, so that one's still working. But you're saying Heidi Harris Show is blocked.
Yeah.
What does it say?
It just says account restricted. So I can click on I can click and see some of the tweets that you've made in the last 24 hours probably. But if I click on your page, not only is it blocked, I can't see anything that you've tweeted on your page, but your picture and your everything's just gone. It's all blank. So they've just removed you from their site apparently.
I've been canceled.
I wonder how long it takes. Well, this is a good case study because I've never been kicked off of Twitter yet. I guess I haven't. I got to push harder because I want that badge. But
I don't even think they're giving those out anymore. I think it was sometime early last year, or maybe it was late 2019 that the Twitter verified thing
just
kind of stopped. Yeah.
No,
I think that what it was? The blue check people, as they say, Jake. It's
there are some Twitter accounts that used to be blue check marks that I still follow, and somewhere in their bio it'll say,
"Hi, this is Lance Drury. If you have
used to be
Lance Drury wanted to say hi, Heidi.
All right, fingers.
Sorry.
Jake's fingers.
Jake
Fingers Baumgartner.
I hit a button. Yeah, and they're still saying it's hey, it's still Twitter used to be verified and now I'm not. And if you go to the Twitter verification, I guess they have their own Twitter account. They're yeah, we're not doing this right now.
I was never doing it before. I never did a blue check because they want basically your birth certificate for you to do that.
But
I
refuse so cool.
to do that.
Yeah,
I know, but I refuse. I don't care if somebody's got a fake one in my name. I know who I am. I don't care. I don't know that someone has a fake one in my name, but I'm not a blue check person because I just did not want to give them all that information about myself.
Well, they're not going to copy you now because you can't tweet anything. So nobody wants to be Heidi Harris on Twitter at this point. You know,
so
they didn't even
on the stream. Heidiology. That's my backup one. Heidiology. Okay, go ahead.
Even Rush Limbaugh was not verified. That's how politically they played that game.
Well, I think you also, like I said, you have to give them a lot of information that I was not willing to get. Now, I can't speak for the way it is, before Rush passed away, but when it was early on, these people had a blue check and that, you could I said, no, I'm not giving you all that information, and listen, I'm giving them my name. It's not like I'm some fake person creating a fake account, some bot from Russia. I'm a real person, but I still wasn't willing to give them, everything they wanted to know, my DNA strand and everything else.
Yeah, people are tweeting me right now saying that there are probably liberal trolls, in their words, who are reporting you since you've been on in St. Louis, who are trying to shut you down.
Oh, well, that's okay. What do I care? You know, I have HeidiHarris.com. Just go to my website, HeidiHarris.com. These people amaze me. They think they can shut you down, and they can insert. But I got to tell you the truth. Do you know a lot of people who are on Twitter anymore? I know that was when I was in Vegas doing radio, most of my listeners were not on Twitter.
Yeah, most of them are. Well, actually, a lot of the Annie Frey Show listeners are. Just because Annie has a pretty wide following on both YouTube and Facebook. It's been tough, though, because you build these followings on these sites, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. And then when we first built these things, it was a free speech platform. Over time, it's become so restrictive that we don't know whether we're going to be on these things. So it's like you just kind of keep floating them out there because you did so much work to build them. But you don't know, maybe tomorrow it's gone, or maybe today it's gone because Heidi is gone today.
Well, that's the problem. There's a website called LifeSite News, which is run by Catholics, I believe, and it's a pro-life site. And they had their Twitter, their YouTube just shut down not too long ago. 300,000 videos, I think they had on there, or maybe 30,000. I may get that back and forth. But they had tons of people following them, tens of thousands of videos on there, gone. Now, luckily, they had backups for them. Gone. Now, I put things on YouTube, Heidi Harris Show. I know this is the Annie Frey Show. I'm not trying to, believe me. We love Annie. We want her back. But I'm just saying I have a YouTube page. I don't have a lot on it. And the reason I haven't put a lot on it, other than occasional rants about local politics and whatnot and a few other things, the reason I haven't put much on it is I don't trust these people. I don't trust big tech anymore. We talked to Dr. Kelly Victory earlier in the week about that. She's part of that Trump lawsuit about big tech. This is the problem. Listen, nobody owes me the platform. And if somebody gets on my show page, my Heidi Harris Show Facebook page, and they're nasty, they're rude, they're anti-Semitic, they're racist, they're whatever, they're gone. I get rid of them. I block them. I do not host them. But the difference is I didn't create that platform. I understand. I have a certain amount of control on my show page. I understand. But here's the thing. I know I didn't create YouTube. I know I didn't create Twitter. But if you in good faith put things on there and then suddenly they decide they don't like your political slant. We're not talking about stoking, hate, racism or something like that. Just regular stuff or maybe an opinion they don't agree with. They just shut it off. To me, that's wrong because it's not worth the effort. You put all this time and effort into uploading things and doing this, building that platform. I'm glad I really have it. I'm sure they'll do that next and block that next. But then you lose it. So you've wasted all that time. And that's the frustrating thing for me.
Yep. That's why we're all going to go back to MySpace where Tom will take care of us.
I can't wait. I never had a MySpace.
Tom
I just
or
missed it.
Justin Timberlake or whoever owns it now will take care of us. We know that they will because they love us.
You know what? It's so funny. So let me tell you what's up that we're going to go to break on now real quickly. But here's some of the stuff that's down. Down detector. Let me see get a better picture of it here. I mean, tons of stuff is down. I don't know, and I don't think that's Twitter related, like you said. Fidelity, FedEx, Airbnb, Amazon.
Really?
Someone in the chat room. It's funny you mentioned Amazon. Someone in the chat room actually said that Amazon was supposed to be down, but it's working just fine.
Oh, good.
They sent that over a few minutes ago.
Got it. All right. McDonald's app. Not that I use that. Why would I use an app when I can just pull up to the drive-thru and ask, can we just
discounts and deals?
Discounts. I do it all the time.
Is that what you get discounts?
Oh yeah, you get pretty good deals. I just got 2 value meals today. Well, 1 value meal and a Happy Meal, but I just pretended that I was going to be the kid.
Oh, I do. I order Happy Meals as an adult. They don't care.
Yeah. 2 meals, $5.99. That's because of the app.
Yeah. The app's pretty great, Heidi.
Okay, $1 to be made if they get in your business. Well, you guys will sell your soul. Now we know what the price is. Okay, coming up.
Yeah,
the price is 1 Happy Meal.
We don't get to respond to that. You're just going to go right to the break? Okay.
You're saying I could get a medium fry for the price of a small?
Jake and Ryan are willing to sell their souls for a Happy Meal. We now know they're willing to sell all of their information and let McDonald's track them for a Happy Meal. Okay, just want to make sure.
Ryan and Jake sold their souls. Now, coming up next, it's going to be Edward Lawrence.
Oh my gosh. I'm Heidi Harris coming right back. I'm in for Annie Frey.
Hi, this is Lance Drury. If you have payroll tax problems, you have serious legal problems, you need an attorney. Call 314-260-6120 or toll free 888-367-6512 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
Hey, this is Ryan. Let me try to get this into 60 seconds. So if you get a sleep apnea retainer that's not the CPAP, right? You've heard about the dental device that's way better, way easier to use. I use one. When you get one, They fit it to your mouth so it's comfortable, but then you can adjust it as you go. So if you find that when you first were using it, man, it was really effective, but now your jaw has gotten relaxed again. So every now and then I will just adjust that thing out just a tiny, tiny bit. Last night, I went to sleep at 10:30, 11 o'clock, woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, couldn't go back to sleep because I had gotten so much oxygen that I had not been getting just because I adjusted that thing. So think about the fact that if you don't have one at all, how much sleep you need right now that you may not, just because you get this sleep apnea little retainer thing from Dr. Ty Parker. You know where I'm going to send you, Fountains Family Dentistry. It's in the Metro East. All the info is at fountainsfamilydentistry.com. That's also where you can find their phone number if you want to call and make an appointment. In Fairview Heights, fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
Weather plays havoc on the exterior of your home. That's why Banner Construction specializes in the best James Hardy fiber cement siding and Pella windows. James Hardy is unmatched for its weather resistance and beauty, and Banner Construction is a preferred James Hardy contractor as well as a Pella Platinum contractor. Don't settle for less than the quality craftsmanship you get from Banner Construction. Visit them online at bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. That's 569-1050, and have a banner day.
Home warranty. I know, right? Buying coverage for appliances, your heater and AC, etc., from a company that hopes you never ever have a claim or call. Let me introduce you to a real home warranty company, the kind that actually wants to help you. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Upkeep visits your home 4 times a year to maintain your appliances and equipment. You will never get a lack of maintenance denial because Upkeep does the maintenance. Also nice, Upkeep assigns you one point person to help you. You won't be passed around like an office hot potato, and you won't get subcontractors. Upkeep does all their work, so there's no blame game. Just experts helping you. Visit upkeepstl.com today and type in 971 for $100 off. Don't be denied. Instead, be relieved. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. 636-387-7331.
Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep, and you'll have a happy home.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, you know the saying, what happens at the barbecue stays at the barbecue. Hot July days are best enjoyed with friends, family, and of course, grilling your favorite barbecue treats. But before you know it, sticky fingers, falling utensils, and spilled sauces somehow always make their way into your home. Lucky for you, Zero-Res can get it out with carpet, tile, area rug, and upholstery cleaning services. Zero-Res has you covered for whatever messes make their way inside your home this summer. They have experienced technicians that know how to best clean and care for each of those unique surfaces in your home with their patented cleaning system. And don't forget about the air ducts. Your air ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. According to the EPA, indoor air may be 2 to 5 times, sometimes more than 100 times more polluted than outdoor air. Trust the team at Zero-Res to get everything clean for you. Schedule your cleaning at ZeroResSTL.com. Ask for the KFTK Mark Reardon special to get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, starting at just $129. Take $50 off the air duct cleaning, 474-2020. Don't forget to tell them that Mark Reardon sent you.
Son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics. Start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from the name in St. Louis weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Air Comfort Service.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. How you doing? Glad you are here. We know the illegal border crossings are at a ridiculous high. It was nearly 200,000 people just last month. Crazy land. I was just down on the border a couple of weeks ago, literally on the border fence in Arizona, on the land of a rancher who's dealing with this crisis every single day. And now apparently some of these ranchers are asking the White House for help covering the damage these people cause when they traipse through their property. Edward Lawrence is here from Fox Business News. How are you, Edward?
Good, Heidi. Yeah, so you saw the problem firsthand then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We were literally on the border, on the land of a rancher down there, and the stuff that they find, garbage, other stuff that they find, it's terrible the damage they do.
Exactly, and the things they're finding: fences, gates are cut. We're talking about crop damage. Their water systems, their irrigation systems are in some cases ripped up. They have their storage containers just drained. In some cases, vehicles stolen. By folks coming through. So it could be anywhere from $1,000 per incident to $10,000 per week that some of these ranchers are paying to fix their land. So they've sent a letter to the administration trying to get some restitution for this. Basically, the farmers and ranchers along the southern border are saying the administration created this problem, so they should pay for the damage because of the problem. There are 52 farm bureaus that are led by the Texas Farm Bureau that have signed on to this letter. So they would like to see some data. They don't have an exact number, but they're tallying that now. They're keeping records of exactly how much they're spending to fix some of the things that are broken down there.
Well, I hope they do. We're speaking with Edward Lawrence from Fox Business News about the border ranchers who are trying to sue the administration for damages done by these migrants who pass through their property day and night. When I was actually down there on the border a couple of weeks ago, there was somebody who had a fake grave and it had a bunch of rocks piled on it, and it said, "Here lies a trespasser."
Right.
They're
Well,
not messing around. They're not messing around.
No, they are not. And I talked with the guy who basically wrote the letter. He's the president of the Texas Farm Bureau, Russia Banning, and he basically is saying that, look, there's a safety issue to this also. I mean, you joke about the gravestone, but there is a safety issue, not just to those who are crossing, but they don't know who is crossing. And some of those farmers say that while they're out doing the repairs, their families are at home, their wives, their children, and people are crossing through the area, in some cases breaking into sheds next to the houses. They don't know who these people are. That, and also a Fox News has learned there's a 900% increase in confirmed positive cases in the Rio Grande Valley alone of people who are getting coronavirus coming into this country unchecked. So there are many issues, damage, safety that they're very concerned about. Now, we've reached out to the administration. So far, they have not gotten back to us on this. The Department of Agriculture actually said that they would have no comment about it. But the ranchers are saying that there was a first level engagement, that they spoke and gave their concerns to the administration. And now they're just waiting for a response.
I don't think they're going to get one. We're speaking with Edward Lawrence from Fox Business News. I saw a story the other day, and this is something I didn't know anything about, that there was a guy who was found. I mean, many have been found dead, but this particular migrant was found, and he had been drinking water, I guess, from one of those things they put out for cattle. And apparently, and I did not know this, maybe you do, I'm woefully ignorant about livestock. Apparently, the cattle could drink out of that, but that's full of bacteria that kills people. I was not even aware of that. It's just an aside, but I didn't realize.
Yeah, and that's something that the ranchers would know. I mean, when you're out on camping, you boil your water, make sure there are no parasites or bacteria in it. But yeah, some of the livestock, some of the animals do have stronger constitutions than humans do. And yeah, you have to be careful as to what you're putting into your body. And again, these folks who are coming in, they're putting their lives at risk. They're putting the lives of the families of the farmers at risk, but they're also damaging along the way. There used to be an unspoken rule that I was told, in the previous administration when it was sort of a trickle coming through, and some of the ranchers would leave the gates there, and they would leave food and some water out, and the migrant who was crossing illegally would open the gate and then close it again and not disrupt anything. Well, that all bets are off. You talk about the border crossings in June, a 21-year monthly high in June, and there's just too many people, and nobody's abiding by those unspoken rules.
Edward Lawrence, White House correspondent for Fox Business, on the phone with us. So are there known spots that are just the main sort of thorough ways that illegal immigrants are coming through, that they know that if they block these spots, it would help? Or is this kind of just across the whole border?
It's across the whole border. I mean, you're down. I've also been down to the Mission, Texas area near McAllen, and you have the fence isn't completed along the border. So you have areas that are pockets. So they know those parts are open, and the Custom and Borders agents patrol those areas. But what happens is the coyotes will send their customers, their paying customers, through into those spots, causing all of the response to go to those areas. Is in some cases you're talking about 500 to 1,000 people just walking across, and then the coyotes will go to an open spot where those custom border agents came from and get their drugs across. So it's sort of a cat and mouse, a whack-a-mole game, and there just aren't enough resources according to the Customs and Borders Protection, for the people down there to cover the entire border. So it's pretty much the entire border, but there's this game that's played by the cartels.
So what can the private landowners, these farmers and ranchers, what can they do to protect their land? Or are they doing everything that they can and it's just not nearly enough to stem the tide?
Yeah, the Texas Farm Bureau president says they are doing everything they can, but there's just an overwhelming surge of people that are coming across the border. They're knocking over fences in droves. And they're doing what they can. They're fixing the damage where they can to try and make sure their livestock, their livelihood doesn't get out. Cows just roaming free, trying to make sure that they protect that business as well as trying to protect their family. But really, they're asking, they're at their wits' end. If you read the letter, they're at their wits' end asking the federal government for help with this, not only with restitution, but to stop the flow. There is some language in that letter that's asking the administration to help curb the amount of people who are coming in.
Yeah, people don't realize what a big deal it is. People say often that guns won the West. You know what? Bottom line, it's barbed wire that won the West. And if you no, seriously, a lot of historians have said that barbed wire was what won the West. And if you don't have barbed wire to keep your livestock in,
Yeah, I'm an expert on some things, not barbed wire.
I'm not either, but I want to keep my livestock where they're supposed to be, right? No, it's a big deal. We're speaking with Fox Business News' Edward Lawrence. So you haven't heard back from the White House. Big shock there. That'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's amazing to me, Edward, how many people in the administration are just completely la, 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 la. They're just holding their hands over their ears. They don't care about the humanitarian crisis. Forget about politics. There are people, as you know, dying in mass numbers, children disappearing into God knows where once they come into this country. Where's the outcry?
Yeah, and exactly. And you're talking about, it's hot down there. I mean, it's really hot. It's humid also. So there's a danger there just with dehydration of people who are coming across. And then, yes, they're shipped through the Customs Borders Protection. They're now processed very quickly. And the children, at least, are moved over to HHS custody. Some others, you probably see them in the airports. They're walking around holding signs, and they have manila envelopes with a location, a city. And they just sort of deposit them in that city after getting them an airplane ticket or a bus ride.
Unbelievable. It's stunning because no one's asking any questions at all about this. I just, who's following up? Why is it their curiosity when the mainstream media, they don't want to talk about it? I know the Fox is following it somewhat, but this is a huge, huge crisis. These kids could be falling into the hands of traffickers. All kinds of crazy things could be going on.
Right. And then you're going to have the extra effect on our services. So, these folks don't have health care. So they're going to then go to the hospitals. And I saw it when I was a local reporter in Las Vegas as one example. You used to see a surge of people who would come in and use the hospital as their primary doctor because they just didn't have health insurance. They didn't have money. So they went in and that overloaded the emergency rooms as they were treating, sniffles and coughs. When real emergencies tried to come in. And there was a period of time about 12 years ago, where there was a little bit of a crisis in Las Vegas because emergency rooms were getting full and they couldn't get the actual emergencies taken care of. We may be dealing with that in the future. We'll have to see. There's a lot of people coming through the border. Like I said, 188,829 people crossed the border in June, according to Customs Borders Protection, a 21-year high for that monthly total. So, yeah, you're going to have problems down the road. It's not just the problem today, but those people are going to need services. Those people are going to need health care.
Yep.
And where's it going to come from?
Well, that's why if you need emergency care in Vegas, you don't go to UMC, you go to Summerlin. That's another story for another day. But that's the whole point, is that these people are flooding, especially the county hospitals, and they can't turn them away. Listen, I'm not saying we should turn people away in America, obviously, but we can't absorb everybody. That's the whole, I'm not talking about turning them away at the border. We should turn them away there. But if a person winds up on your doorstep in a hospital, we're America, we help them at least somewhat. But after they have an emergency situation treated, then they should be deported, Edward. That's the whole point.
There is a process to legally enter the country. My grandfather did it, and many grandfathers have done it across this country. And these folks are basically skipping the line. And we're have to see. The administration might be moving towards a pathway to citizenship for at least the DACA representatives. There was a meeting today with the vice president and folks talking about a pathway to citizenship for those dreamers who are in this country. That baby steps, and it might happen to those folks who are coming into this country illegally this way. We'll just have to see. But there is a legal process, and that's sort of what gets lost in all this. And there are people in line going through that legal process, and there are people who are becoming citizens through that legal process. And that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Edward Lawrence, White House correspondent for Fox Business, on the phone with us. So you mentioned the number of illegal crossings at the border that's going up. I assume that means that the argument that the White House was making earlier that this was seasonal because there's always a spike in March and April when the weather's nicer, that kind of goes out the window at this point.
Yeah, and it does. It certainly undermines that argument from the White House. We'll have to see what the July numbers are, because obviously July is hotter than June. But it does seem like there are more and more people coming to the border as that message is getting out that, hey, the U.S. border is open and it's actually Customs and Borders Protection. I was talking with one of the senators up on the Hill, Senator, I believe it was Bill Cassidy, if my memory serves me correctly. But what they were saying is basically the Customs and Borders Protection has become the last mile for the coyotes. They get them across the border and they just turn them over. And then Customs and Borders Protection through the administration is moving them into the country, into the United States.
So what can Texas do about this? If the federal government is doing nothing, is Texas kind of handicapped in what their response can be by the federal government? Are they doing everything they can, but it's just not enough?
Yeah, so the Texas Farm Bureau president said that he has had conversations with the governor, and the governor has sent more highway patrolmen down to help out. They've also sent more National Guardsmen from other states into Texas just to help out, not coordinated by the federal government, but through the governor's office. So he has taken a very proactive stance. And that Texas Farm Bureau president was telling me that the governor was extremely receptive and actually taking action to help some of their concerns, at least in that hotspot areas that are seeing a lot of damage at sort of a spike in certain time frames. They send people to stand in that area. He said the Texas governor's office has been very responsive. They've seen less of a response from the administration, but they're hopeful in the coming weeks, they said, to get a response back.
Well, stay close to your phone, Edward Lawrence, because you never know. The Biden administration may contact you with a comment on this. You never know. You just never know. By the way, I do remember you from Las Vegas. You were great at what you did. Onward and upward, my friend. Look at you, Mr. National now.
I do remember you, Heidi. Absolutely. We were in Vegas together.
Absolutely. You never know where people are going to. Everybody winds up in Vegas sooner or later. You know the story. There's always a Vegas connection. Yeah. Great talking to you, Edward Lawrence, Fox Business News. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it.
It's a small world. Thank you, guys.
Oh, my gosh. It's a small world. Isn't it a small world? Yes. Everybody's connected, interconnected somehow, some way. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and now we're all singing It's a Small World after all in our heads and trying to pretend that we all didn't do that.
Well, I wasn't until you mentioned it.
Now you are.
Isn't that true, though, how so many people, especially in our business, will cycle through, reporters and anchors and all these people. And of course, Mark Cox used to be an anchor in St. Louis, and now he's on the morning show here. It's so interesting how people just, when you're in the broadcasting business, you never know where you're going to wind up.
It's a smaller world than it probably should be.
Yeah. Yes, I think so at times. Okay. So here's a crazy story. There's an Ohio man who apparently planned to shoot sorority girls. Now, before you go, what? He was an incel. Do you guys know what an incel is?
Sort of. If you say it again, I'll probably remember.
Okay. It's an involuntary celibate.
Yes. Okay.
It's a thing.
Involuntary.
And
okay.
Yes. These people have a problem. Remember the guy in Toronto a couple of years ago who mowed a bunch of people down? He was an incel too. We'll talk about that. It's kind of interesting. I don't know what I know what their problem is. We'll get to the details coming up. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality, water heater, and AeroSeal duct seal services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
Thinking of buying a house and want a really low interest rate? Owning has a special for home purchases, where Owning pays all your closing costs, and the rate in APR is an unheard of 1 3/4% for a 15-year fixed mortgage with 20% down. This is the craziest low rate for a mortgage with no closing costs that Owning has ever done. 1 3/4% rate in APR. Heck, we're almost paying you to live in a new house. Call 833-2-OWNING or go to owning.com to see if you qualify for this crazy low 1 3/4% rate. That's a fixed rate loan at 1 3/4% with no closing costs. Call 833-2-OWNING now, because 1 3/4 could go away at any time.
NMLS 2611, subject to credit approval. Call 833-852-6464 for terms and conditions. Equal housing lender.
That's 833-2-OWNING or owning.com. 833-2-OWNING or owning.com.
Did you know that Lakeside Renovation and Design does stamped concrete? If you're looking to improve that aesthetic indoors and outdoors, Lakeside Renovation and Design is the way to go. They are the trusted name for full-scale remodels, transforming homes both inside and out. You've got a huge project renovation that you want to do? Call Lakeside at 636-978-5000. Got a little project that you want to have done by the pros. Don't want to mess with it yourself. You want to make sure that it's done right and done right the first time. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design and get started today. 636-978-5000. Online at lakesiderenovationanddesign.com. When you call Lakeside, you're going to be talking to a company that employs over 100 of the very best local St. Louisans that are committed to doing the job right each and every time, backed by a lifetime workmanship warranty on top of a manufacturer's warranty. Lakeside Renovation and Design at 636-978-5000. Online at lakesiderenovationanddesign.com.
Come to the enchanted attic. Come to the enchanted attic. Come to the enchanted attic, and the mysteries of life shall be revealed. Gaze into a crystal ball to see your future. Breathe in the exotic fragrances of incense, candles, and essential oils. Adorn your body with jewelry encrusted with mystical gemstones from around the world. Why, many who enter the magical realm of the enchanted attic feel as though they have entered another dimension in time and space. But actually, in reality, they have just entered 304 South Main Street in historic St. Charles, home of the famous Enchanted Attic. This is Diane, and you need to come to the Enchanted Attic. It's mystical, magical, and a whole lot of fun. Open every day, free gift with purchase. You'll love this store.
Mark Cox here, inviting you to join me and Mark Reardon for the Protecting Your Retirement Educational event Tuesday, August 10th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com to reserve your seat. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you concerned how inflation might affect the stock market and your retirement accounts? Are you worried you won't have enough income to retire comfortably and live the same lifestyle as you are now? Do you wonder how long your money will last? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can now roll over your 401k or company plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? If you're nearing retirement or already retired, you don't want to miss the special event. See you Tuesday, August 10th at 6:30 p.m.
Protect that retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisor of my show, Thomas Helbig, along with me and Mark Reardon at the Frontenac Hilton Tuesday, August 10th at 6:30. 314-993-9494 is the number, or go online at retirementkey.com.
Download the Odyssey app to discover hundreds of new exclusive music stations available now. For music fans, by music fans. Music stations specific to your taste. Now available through the Odyssey app. It's all at Odyssey.com.
Well, I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh, yeah.
First of all, the good news is the economy is picking up significantly. It's rational when you think about it. The cost of an automobile is kind of back to what it was before the pandemic. We compare what the prices were for the last year in the pandemic, and they are up. They're up because, in fact, there was not much call for. For example, automobiles. You know, you had the rental car companies selling off their entire stock. You found yourself in the same way with automobile dealers. And all of a sudden now it's coming back. We're going to grow at 7% as expected. We created more jobs in the first 6 months of our administration than any time in American history. No administration's ever created as many jobs.
Well, yeah, because we were in the toilet. Give me a break. Give me a break. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. I mean, where we're supposed to go but up when Biden took over after everything was shut down. I mean, really, what choice did we have?
What was that clip? He was just spouting off different talking points that didn't quite connect except under the banner of economy. There's nothing he was saying really connected to each other.
Well, no, because nothing he says does connect. Did you want some connection?
I was trying really hard. Yeah. I wanted
Just
to
'cause
hear
this
what
is a-
point he was making.
I saw some story. I don't have it in front of me, but I saw it in my news feed yesterday that I guess they're going to be talking to him about the nuclear football or something. Did you see that one?
No, I have no idea what this is.
I can't remember who it was, but they were going to talk to him about the nuclear codes or whatever it is. That guy who walks around with the briefcase. I don't know, but clearly some people are concerned about what he might do. I don't know. Crazy land. All right. So here's a crazy story out of Ohio. Here's a guy named Tyrus. Jenko. He's a self-identified incel. He was arrested on federal charges. He planned to kill as many, listen to this, as 3,000 people, specifically sorority girls at an unnamed Ohio university. 21 years old, never got beyond the planning stage. But apparently he's a self-identified incel. For those who don't know, that's an involuntary celibate. That means you can't get any. Maybe it's your lack of charm, buddy. What?
I'm reading. That's a good way to put it, because when you read it on Merriam-Webster, they don't put it in those words, but it's pretty much the same as you just said.
It is pretty much. I just put in snarky terms. Okay. He faces up to life in prison if convicted of the hate crime. He was charged with attempting to conduct a mass shooting of women. Apparently, he was also charged with illegally possessing a machine gun. Apparently, he recently, before you're asking, well, how do you know he's an incel? Glad you asked. Justice Department press release says he regularly posted on a popular incel website for a year, at a minimum, they said. It defines the incel movement as an online community of mostly men who are angry with women and seek to commit violence in support of their belief that women unjustly deny them sexual or romantic attention to which they believe they're entitled. How about Netflix and chill, buddy? How about taking her out to dinner? Anything. Just saying.
No, instead he went and got a machine gun.
Okay, so before you laugh and go, this guy's crazy, I'm glad they caught him. Okay, I'm grateful for that because who knows what could have happened. Do you remember this guy in 2018 who mowed a bunch of people down in Toronto? Remember this guy, Alex Manassian was his name, okay? 10 charges of murder, killed 10 people, 16 attempted murder. 28 years old. He was linked to the incel movement. Once again, another incel guy. His mom tried to say he was autistic. But anyway, another one of those incel guys. I mean, I just am trying to figure out... He said, now you're asking, well, how did they know? Okay, I'll tell you why. After being arrested, he told police he was angry at women and had planned the attack as retribution for years of being rejected.
Why do we have to name everything? Why does that get a name? Because when I was in high school and you couldn't get a girl, you were just called a dork. Why does that have to become a political movement to not be able to get a girlfriend?
I don't know if it is a political movement, but it definitely sounds like one. Incel sounds like it could be
Doesn't
like
it?
a, yeah, it totally. That is because I didn't know what that was either. And that is not the definition I expected. I thought it was going to be some sort of like political movement.
Well, it's just, they're just, okay. These are just people who don't, every time, okay, let's back up. Every time somebody does a mass shooting, what do they have in common? They're disaffected losers. Can we all agree on that? Mostly white, not always, but mostly white. But they're disaffected losers, whether they go shoot a bunch of people at school because they're bullied. We've all been bullied. Or whether they go and shoot up the building after they get fired. They're disaffected losers pretty much every single time, right?
Yes. Yeah, but
And
then
so-
we're putting different labels on what kind of loser are you? What category can we put you in?
Are you an incel or just a disgruntled postal worker? It was funny. I watched my husband and I just once in a while, you just need a laugh. Okay. And my husband and I were watching, actually, I was watching Naked Gun 33 1/3. Have you seen any Naked Gun movies, you guys?
Oh, I think I've seen all of them. It's been a long time, though, especially
Okay.
the third one.
Right. It had been a long time since I'd seen them either, probably since they came out. Okay. I was laughing. So my husband said to me the next morning, he goes, what were you I was laughing out loud, belly laughing at this movie. Okay. Because I hadn't seen it in a long time. And it's so politically incorrect. So like there's one scene where they have all these people running downstairs. They have a bunch of people dressed in Arab gear with guns. That of course that's not allowed anymore. Then they have a bunch of, oh my gosh, disgruntled postal workers. They all come running down the stairs. They've got shotguns. Everybody's ox is gored in this movie. It's just, you can't do that anymore. Nobody can laugh anymore.
You know what? I just realized that you talking about Naked Gun 33 and a half made me realize is
Wait,
that
33 and a third.
33 and a third. Sorry. Is that you remember the 90s? You saw a lot of stereotypes of Arabs as terrorists, like you were just saying.
Right.
That all stopped after 9/11 when there
Right.
was actual Arab terrorism. Isn't
Right.
that weird? That nobody cared until there was actual Islamic terrorism happening, and then it became inappropriate to represent that.
Right. I was on a plane a couple of years back with a friend of mine, and we were flying. And you know how when you get on a plane, everybody does certain things. You all act the same way. You kind of have to. When they tell you to sit down, put your luggage over the overhead bins and sit your butt down, you do that, right? So there were two Arab-looking guys, or Middle Eastern, it's a better word, Middle Eastern-looking people standing in the aisle when everybody else was sitting down. Okay, so it was behavior that already I'm on alert now because they're not doing what everyone else, not because of the color of their skin or anything else, but because they were acting differently than everyone else. All right,
They were just doing
Standing in
something out of the ordinary.
correct, out of character. So they're standing there and they're talking. And I'm sorry, I don't know Hebrew from Arabic. Shame on me. Okay, I don't. So they're talking. I don't really understand what they're saying. And I said to my friend, I said, "One Allah Akbar," and I am jumping off this plane. I'm telling you right now. And so then they could continue to talk when they should have sat down. And then one of them said a word that made me completely relax. You know what it was?
No.
Shalom.
Shalom.
And I went, oh,
That's
they're
Hebrew.
Israelis.
You do know Hebrew.
I do. I know a little few, but I said, oh, shalom. Good. Okay. Shame on me for profiling, but I went, okay, I can fly on this plane now. I'm not going to worry about it. They still should sit down. It's time to sit down. But still, I just went, oh, okay. Right. Because you got to be on alert. There are plenty of white people who've caused major problems on airlines, right? We know they've gone running for the door. They've done all these crazy things. We've heard all these stories over the last couple of years where people just act like fools on planes. Don't know why, but they do. And it's mostly white people. But people just aren't having it anymore. There was a guy a few years back who was killed, young guy, on a plane between Vegas and Salt Lake because he acted up, and the people on the plane just all got on top of him and held him down because he was acting complete. I mean, listen, there are 300 of us on this little plane. You're not going to bring it down because you don't know how to act. That's how people are anymore. They're not having it.
The takeaway is that we need to go watch Naked Gun 1, 2, and 3 again, and Police Squad. Do you remember that, Heidi?
I do. You know what? It's just funny. I literally belly laughed. To the point where my husband could hear me in the bedroom. He said, "What were you?" I was laughing. I couldn't. So some parts of it were just so funny. Leslie Nielsen was so funny, and of course Priscilla Presley's so gorgeous. It's just funny. Even OJ was likable back then. That's how long ago that was.
Oh yeah, man! I forgot he was in. Was he in all 3 of those movies?
I think so. Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, wow, that really is politically incorrect because we were all laughing and having a good time with OJ back then.
Yeah, back in the day when OJ was likable. Anyway, but back to these incel guys. I mean, it's a thing, and I'm glad that somebody was able to find out what was happening with this guy in Ohio before he did something terrible. But really, you're that sexually frustrated? I mean, okay.
I just think it's odd that you identify yourself as so frustrated, so sexually frustrated that you're like, this is the group of people that I want to associate with from now on. I am now an incel.
Yeah, talk about how we're not getting any. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's crazy. Hey, coming up next hour, looking forward to this. Tyrus is going to be joining us. Also, Eric Clapton's coming out about who he will perform in front of because of the COVID situation. We'll get to that. And lawmakers are spending a ton of money on security, individual lawmakers. What a bunch of babies. Okay, we'll get to all that on the next hour of the Heidi Harris. I'm sorry, guys. I did my own show for 20
the
years.
The Annie Frey Show.
I'm not trying to take Annie's show away. It's her show. No, she's coming back. She's coming back. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
Early in the morning, just for me. Oh, yeah.
Hello, Marvin Mitchell here from Compass Retirement Solutions. Did you know that the average 3-year CD rate in the area was less than 1%? That's why we are excited to offer you several accounts that are short-term and pay better than bank rates. For example, we currently have a 3-year account paying 2.4% and a 5-year account paying 3.5% per year guaranteed. What a great place for your lazy money. You know, the money that you don't plan to use for the next 3 to 5 years. Now, terms and conditions do apply. So for more information, call 314-373-1598. Again, call 314-373-1598. This is Marvin Mitchell, and we would like to put your lazy money to work for you. Call 314-373-1598.
Guarantees are backed by the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Rates can change without notice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis can pay you cash and close in as little as 5 days. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis is your most trusted home buyer. We buy houses in any condition, any price range, and in any location in the St. Louis metro. Call 314-782-5000. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis buys inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses, and even those my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Call Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis today. Vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, get a cash offer in just 7 minutes. Call Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis at 314-782-5000. That's 314-782-5000. 314-782-5000.
St. Louis has been hit with an onslaught of storms this spring and summer that have produced hail and high winds. The areas of Town and Country, Ladue, Maryland Heights, Creve Coeur, Kirkwood, Richmond Heights have had some of the worst storm damage. Even minor storm damage can cause your roof to deteriorate and leak over time. But you can have your roof checked for free by the qualified roofing experts at St. Louis-based First Choice Roofing and Construction. For over 12 years, First Choice has offered free roof inspections. If you don't have hail and weather damage, we will tell you. If you do, we work directly with your insurance company and your insurance adjuster to make sure you're maximizing the restoration claim for your home. Schedule your free roofing evaluation now by calling 636-282-0090. That's 636-282-0090. 636-282-0090. Or book your free roof inspection online. FirstChoiceSTL.com. That's First Choice with the numeral FirstChoiceSTL.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly to mostly sunny skies with us this afternoon, a little more humid, 90 degrees. The difference today is we're going to start to notice the haze and the smoke work its way towards the ground. What that means is we may actually smell a little smoke around. That's coming from the Pacific Northwest fires. Tonight, clear but hazy, smoky skies, 72, 80s during the evening. Same story on Friday. Still haze and smoke around, 90 degrees Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Have you been putting off life insurance for a while? With the long application process, medical exams, and blood tests, it's no wonder you put it off. It can seem so confusing, expensive, and time-consuming. But Ethos is a new kind of life insurance. Ethos is built with you in mind. Instead of a medical exam, you only have to answer a few health questions. Our application is 100% online and can be done in about 10 minutes. You might even get same-day coverage. At Ethos, we match you with the right policy and the right price for you from top-rated carriers, with no medical exams and no blood tests. Now you can spend less time sorting through confusing paperwork and more time with the loved ones you want to protect. Go to ethoslife.com today to apply in minutes. That's ethoslife.com. Ethos Technologies, Inc. operates in California as Ethos Life Insurance Services. Not available in all states, and price is subject to underwriting and certain health questions.
Pride of ownership is the ultimate goal of all homeowners. We want to help you attain that goal with new windows from Universal Windows Direct. Universal Windows Direct windows will improve the overall look and feel of your home and save you money on your energy bills. And best yet, you can put off paying for these windows for 2 years. Call us now to schedule your personal estimate and take advantage of our buy one window, get one window free, plus 0 payments and 0 interest for 2 years. Call 314-334-2522 or click now at universalwindowsdirect.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for ThrottleNet, and if you need new IT service and you're a small business owner, or you just need better IT service, why wouldn't you check out ThrottleNet? They won Best in Customer Service from Small Business Monthly this past January, Best in Cybersecurity in Small Business Monthly in February. Ransomware has been huge, unfortunately, on the rise through the pandemic, and ThrottleNet has saved clients $2.6 million in ransom. So they protect against ransomware by providing a tool set that provides cybersecurity training for employees, identifying and quarantining an infected machine from the network, and the equipment will recover in less than 24 hours. Take advantage of a great offer. The first 30 days with ThrottleNet are free. There's no onboarding fees if you leave in the first 30 days. ThrottleNet will pay you $1,000 for your trouble. And after the first 30 days, no contracts, they're month to month. Check out ThrottleNet online. Use the 97.1 connection. ThrottleNet.com/971. ThrottleNet.com/971. Get started today.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo.
What is a no-charge appraisal? It's never asking for a credit card or charging for a home appraisal if we can't close your loan.
No risk on refinancing, but I live for danger.
With our rates at a low 2.25%, refinancing with Golden Oak is anything but risky business. Get started today at goldenoaklending.com.
NMLS 114937, 2.25% fixed, 3.195% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit. 11737 Administration Drive, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Join the conversation digitally. Download the Odyssey app and tune into the #1 talk station in St. Louis at any time. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
Earlier this month, President Biden saying moments ago he unequivocally condemns mass detentions and sham trials. On the eve of the Olympics, a change announced coming soon for the U.S. men's basketball team.
7-time All-Star and current broadcaster Grant Hill will be taking over the reins of Team USA basketball. Hill will be replacing Jerry Colangelo to become the managing director of the USA basketball's men's national team after the Tokyo Olympics end. Hill, a gold medalist himself from Team USA's run in 1996, will begin to work with the American team as they will be just a few months away from qualifying for next year's Basketball World Cup, and then soon after the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Fox's Mike Gunzelman. Colangelo became managing director in 2005. He's hoping to add a 4th gold medal to his run with Team USA at the Tokyo Games. They're celebrating in Milwaukee a parade honoring the Bucks for the city's first NBA championship in 50 years. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
One of those other networks is not a big fan of mine. One you talk about a lot. But if you notice, as they say in the southern part of my state, they've had an altar call, some of those guys. All of a sudden, they're out there saying, let's get vaccinated. Let's get vaccinated. The very people before this were saying, I shouldn't make fun of it. That's good.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. Really? Joe Biden, this clown. Altar call?
You know, it wasn't very long ago. I don't know if you've seen these clips circulating much, Heidi, of Biden and Kamala talking about how reluctant they were to trust the vaccine because it was created under Donald Trump. I mean, that was just a few months ago. And now, well, it's politically expedient for me to blame Republicans. So now I've always been pro-vaccine.
Right. Well, remember the CDC director crying. I'm really scared. And then a couple of weeks later, she was throwing out the first pitch at a baseball game. Remember that?
Yes. Jen Psaki just did the same thing recently.
It's like, well, I thought you were scared. And now you're not scared. And I just read some story online this morning before I got kicked off Twitter that apparently a friend of mine, we were talking last hour about how I got kicked off Twitter, or I think I was. And then a friend of mine had to go through a lot of hoops to find my old tweets on there, but I can't get on it anymore. So if you never see another tweet from me, you know why.
Well, apparently all that verification that you have to go through. So the people have been tweeting me about this issue kind of all day because they're on Twitter. They're watching, listening to the show, watching the show, whatever, and they're commenting. They're saying that one of the reasons that they're asking you for your phone number and all that stuff is because one of the ways that people who don't like what you have to say will try to get you shut down is to claim that you are a bot, that you're a fake account.
Okay.
And so they will just sort of uniformly say, oh, a bunch of people have reported that you're a bot. Prove that you're not by telling us that you're a real person. I think that's what's going on.
I don't trust these people. I'm not giving them my phone number.
Good for you.
I mean, I'm not saying that they, who knows, right? It's hard to hide anything. If you've ever put your phone number in a DM to anybody, you know that they've got it, but I'm not giving it directly to Twitter. That's not happening. Tyrus joins us. You see him on Fox all the time. He was just on Gutfeld yesterday. How are you, Tyrus?
I'm doing phenomenal. How are you?
I'm doing well. So talk to me a little bit about what's going on with Cuba. Obviously, that's kind of a mess. That gives a lot of people hope. But, a lot of folks on the left are worried that this is going to energize a Republican base, aren't they?
I would argue if you're not energized now in the Republican base,
right,
you're never going to be. I don't know anyone that hasn't been energized since that fateful trip on the Golden Escalator. So if you ain't got it by now, you're not going to get it.
That's true. That's true. And apparently Biden's sending the federal police into cities now, which, we heard a lot about that about 2 weeks ago. Haven't heard a lot since. What's happening? You have any updates for us?
No, I don't. But I've been saying this the entire time. The longer that Biden's administration goes on, the more that the real Joe Biden is going to show up. His blood pact with socialists and the progressives is thinning. He is a moderate. He was a law to excessive 3-strike rules, all those types of things. He was extremely tough on crime. And because progressives want basically none and open borders and stuff, and to join forces to win this election, they made deals. And now we're starting to see that even if you want to call him Sleepy Joe or whatever, he's awake enough to see that defunding the police was a horrible idea. It has hurt this country 10 times more than the pandemic, even in terms of safety and morale, and people don't want to go out of their house. Stores can't stay open past 6 o'clock. Like, we're dealing with just what is a political nightmare for anyone who walked around or post hashtag defund the police. They're all feeling it. And I think they're losing a lot of support. And now we're going to start seeing the knives come out in the Democratic Party because he's going to step away from their agenda because he knows it's political suicide.
I think that's true. We're speaking with Tyrus. You see him on Fox News all the time, most recently on Gutfeld. What's interesting, it's not just about defunding the cops. As you know, the larger issue was it demoralized the cops. The fact that they felt like supervisors don't have their back. The public doesn't have their back. Politicians don't have their back. That, to me, was the larger issue.
Well, and it's not just that. When you are feeling like you're already doing a dangerous job anyways, but you're not just demoralizing the police, you're demoralizing communities. You're demoralizing neighborhoods and people who are trying to do the right thing. And how do you sit there and teach your children to do the right thing, respect, don't steal, don't do this, don't do that, when they're seeing on the news and they're seeing on TikTok and Twitter how great it is to be a looter, how great it is to wear a mask and burn down. You're free, and if anyone says anything to you, it's what you're owed, and you're oppressed, and all this just ridiculousness that is not what America is about. And I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever, that has absolutely nothing to do with the character of who you are and respecting the laws in this country. And you also are encouraging people who think they can go out and resist arrest and get paid. Like, hey, I don't have to listen to the police. If I try to take a swing at a cop and he arrests me, I'm going to sue him. I'm going to get paid. He's going to lose his job. I'm going to be famous. There's going to be streets named after me. And you're not a social justice warrior. You're not a civil rights leader. You're a criminal with a video camera.
True.
Hey, Tyrus, I love, that we never know exactly where you're going to stand on issues. So I'm going to ask you kind of a broad question, just see what you have to say about it. With the cities really being the places that are impacted most by the increase in crime and the lack of police, how do we come back from that issue? It sounds like Joe Biden maybe and the White House are flipping around on this and saying, yeah, that's a bad issue. We need to change our minds. But is that going to solve it? I mean, how do we come back from this as a society?
Well, the only way that we can, I mean, eventually we'll get there because this is America after all. We've overcome a lot in this country. And we've grown. And I would like to say 90% of this country does the right thing. And why we continue to shine the camera on that 10% or give so much strength to a tweet or a cancel culture movement that is baseless most of the time, that's the issue. Whether we come back from that or not, I think we can come back from that after the 2022 term elections. I think we'll come back to it when the Democratic Party is completely destroyed in the House and the Senate. And I'm not saying this as I'm just keeping it real. I am just disgusted with, and it's not, I'm not a hang out around the leather couch guy sipping on a mimosa, talking with my rich friends. My boots are on the ground. I'm a regular guy. I still listen to the same gym I did when I was broke. I do my own shopping. You know what I'm saying? I talk to everybody. And when we are out shooting or whatever, and people stop me in the street and they want to talk about stuff, it's always the same thing. They're doing the right thing. Most Americans do the right thing. The frustration that they have is they can't get the right information and they have to sift through so many fake headlines and political agendas and opinionated polls calling themselves factual. So it's a lot. It's going to be tough because we don't have government officials that are accountable, that can come out and say, and all it would take is like, listen, defund the police was wrong. We are not only going to reinvest in the police department, we are going to hold those accountable who looted, who burned, the same veracity and relentlessness that we went after the people who kicked in the doors in January 6th. The only difference was that the actual politicians were in danger, quote, not danger, whatever you want to put it, where regular people, you can burn their houses down. A man can be shot in the streets trying to defend his business and nothing is done but if he would have been a senator or a House member who was shot defending his business, you better believe businesses all over this country would have been protected. You would have started seeing things like that. So we're seeing the disparity between the unaffected and the wealthy and how they view and treat this country. And it's coming from the group that was supposedly be all about the people. And that's the Democratic Party. So America's seeing that the big bad dragon that they made President Trump out to be was just them talking about the guy in the mirror.
Yeah, Tyrus, Fox Nation host of Nuff Said and Fox News contributor on the phone with us. So this sort of civil war that I think you kind of alluded to that within the Democratic Party, I don't know if you called it a civil war, but there seems to be factions within the Democrat Party that are much more progressive. And then the side that was supposed to be the more moderate side was supposed to be Joe Biden, but he hasn't really acted that way because we don't really know if he's really in control of everything that he's doing. Do you think that Biden and Kamala are at odds with each other and that is representative of sort of the two sides in the Democrat Party right now?
I would generally say that she is running a progressive agenda and she's in line with the people around him. I think President Biden was backed into selecting her. He was kind of backed in, but he made those choices. And now he's got to deal with the fact that he's 100% going to be a one-term president. There's no question of that. And what people really thought was they thought if everyone was getting vaccinated, that they would have the next 8 years to do what they want. And fantasy-ridden defund the police and make no one have to pay for college and like all these unrealistic goals that people buy, but it's not the people that vote that buy this stuff. That is the ramifications of that is going to take a long time for the American public to get over. And I think you're going to see a voting decrease across the country because they've worked. There are only two things they're running on is that getting an ID is apparently the worst thing a black man could ever do. I get it. The DMV line is horrible, but it's a real slap in the face to my grandparents, who worked 4 jobs and stood in line 12 hours to vote, but they did it because they were Americans and it was their duty and it was their right. And to tell us that if you would have told them oh, you don't have an ID or a driver's license, you can't vote. You don't think they would have that driver's license the next day?
Yep,
Like,
absolutely. That's true.
But they're trying to, when you create monsters that when the villain has no name, and that's what we're dealing with right now. We need them to continue to keep the vaccination fight going. Operation Warp Speed was successful, and all they had to do was just to piggyback on it and ride it to the finish line. And if any one of them, if supposedly Joe Biden was going to be, or his administration had any inkling of wanting to bring this country together, you tip your hat to the other administration. I know that's crazy. Operation Warp Speed, well done, Mr. President. I don't agree with you on much, but I agree with you on this. You would have had people would have listened. Like, okay, so it wasn't all, but no, you're too busy trying to run on politics. You're trying to use January 6th to squeak out your House votes coming up, and you're trying to use that. You're hoping that there's a full-blown investigation so you can carry that against the Senate, and hopefully you can have another mock trial to where you can take it into the White House. And here's the truth. We don't need a panel for January 6th. The FBI is doing a phenomenal job. Pretty much everyone within a camera shot that was in that building has been arrested, is being arrested, is being served. So what else do we need to know? We caught the guys who did it. They're going to jail. Are you saying the FBI can't do their job and 6 House members are going to do a better job? What are they going to do? Tell them to come testify, and then if they don't come, ask them to come again while we're paying for it?
Right. It's
and
crazy.
when they find out it wasn't President Trump, as much as they want it to be, this giant emperor's lair where he sat in this satin cloak in his devil chair going, January 6th, you march here. Here's the thing. I will leave the package in this envelope, and it'll be this, that, and the woman in the red shoes with the white cardigan, follow her to the destination. Pence will be here. Make it quick. That's what they want. And it only happens in the movies. That's not what happened. And and if it would have been, the FBI would have been knocking on his door quick. So, but again, that's not the world we live in right now. Fantasy is more important than reality.
Now we're speaking with Tyrus, Fox Nation host of NUFFSAID. Yeah, that's so true, Tyrus. The whole thing's ludicrous. It sounds like a Tom Cruise movie the way you're portraying it. And I think a lot of Americans just watched what happened for 2 years of this Russia after they found nothing. I don't think most Americans are concerned at all about what happens in the January 6th investigation. I think they're just bored with it because they feel as if both sides, Congress is wasting their time. Congress needs to be spending time on legitimate issues.
What happened in January 6th was terrible. But in my opinion, what happened in the streets of Minnesota, what happened in the streets of Los Angeles, what's happening in the street in Chicago is far more dangerous and worse because innocent people are losing their lives. Now, you can make an argument if you choose to charge a building or protest and something happens to you, it's still a tragedy, but you had a choice in some regards or respect. But walking out your house to be shot or beat up by a looter for no other reason than living there, to me, is far worse. And the fact that we're not treating them both at least as equal. I want to see pictures of the guys walking out of the Foot Locker with boxes of shoes. And I'm not buying they're looking for bread. No, they weren't. The people out there, that's not what it was about. What they did was just as bad, just as horrible in this country. And we're hearing, well, we're not going to prosecute. I don't understand that, but they will understand that when they're no longer in office anymore. So I hope that the American people are paying attention to these, and I don't care if they're Republican, Democrat, or independent or whatever. If you are turning a blind eye to the suffering of your constituents, you shouldn't be in office. There's more to being a senator or a member of the House than being on Fox News and CNN at night. I've less interviews, more work.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. Tyrus, great to have you again. Appreciate you joining us every week. Tyrus, of course, you see a show on Fox Nation called NUFFSAID. You see him on Gutfeld, all the other shows. Thank you, Tyrus, for being here again. Thanks for the common sense.
Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, he's actually right. I mean, I think America's just bored after 2 years of Russia, and then nothing there. I mean, a big nothing burger. Oh, boy. All right. Coming up, we'll talk about how much lawmakers are spending on personal security. These little scaredy cats. We'll get to that. And Eric Clapton has made some statements about where he will play regarding vaccinations and some breaking news about the NFL. That's all coming up next on the Annie Frey Show. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Annie Frey.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
At Shane Company, we've always sourced conflict-free diamonds, rubies, and sapphires, and offered direct importer prices. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business, Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Doing a home loan or a mortgage refinance with Stewart's American Mortgage is probably crossed your mind if you heard me talking about my friend Stewie. The fact that I did a refinance with my home in 2019, the fall of 2019, rates are lower. I could refinance right now, actually, and get a lower rate than I did then because they've just continued to go down. I trust Stewie. And when I went through the process, he walked me through every single detail of what was going on and helped explain what the process was. And we were able to lower our monthly payment pretty significantly. If you are in the market for a refinance, I want you to consider the Bagel Loan with Stewart's American Mortgage. If you are in the market for a new home, I want you to consider the Bagel Loan with Stewart's American Mortgage. He can save you on all of those fees that other lenders are going to charge you for and get you into those historic low rates. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Call my friend Stewie. Tell him Annie said hello. You can Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
There are a lot of other cash home buyers out there today, but only HomeVestors will make you a fair, firm offer that won't change before closing. Others may make an offer on your house sight unseen, only to reduce it or add hidden fees when they do see the house. We make a personal visit first, so when we make you a cash offer, you can trust that it won't be lowered. Servicing the St. Louis area for over 20 years and proud partners of the St. Louis Cardinals. For an all-cash offer on your house that you can count on, call 1-800-44-BUYER or go to homevestors.com. Each franchise office is independently owned and operated.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you buy too much, you waste money. If you come up short, you waste time. And if you don't have the right metal, you waste time and money. You've got to spend wisely. Metals Supermarkets has the experience, knowledge, and inventory to get the job done right the first time. No matter what project you're working on, Metals Supermarkets is your first choice for any metal. Cut to size and ready fast. We also offer fast delivery and no minimum order size. Visit Metal Supermarkets in St. Louis or metalsupermarkets.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Keeping you connected with news, entertainment, and information with perspective. It's all here. St. Louis's own 97.1 FM Talk.
One of the things I said when I ran for office, it's not Democrat, Republican again, is you got to restore faith in government. You got to get people to the point where they trust government. And I made a commitment that when I made a mistake, I'd tell you. and I've made mistakes. And when I think I got it right, I'll say it. But I'll take responsibility for what I do and say. Part of it is just generally, no, I don't mean that. Part of it is generally raising confidence in elected officials. Raising confidence.
Raising confidence in elected officials. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. I watched online the other day when they did a meeting of what they call in Vegas, the county commission, deciding about the masks again. Of course, the whole country follows and watches what Vegas is doing and pays attention. I watched a parade of people get up there for, I don't know, an hour and tell the county commission, basically hand them their butts and tell them how upset they were about this and that. They didn't want more masks. They were useless. They were this, they were that. I think there was one guy who agreed with the idea of shutting things down or putting masks on people again. This is why people don't trust politicians. They don't trust them because they're weasels. They don't listen. They forget they work for us. That's the problem.
Also, when he was talking about admitting mistakes, I'd be the first one to admit mistakes. When in the last 7 months, have we heard him do that at all? I don't know that I've heard him admit a mistake ever.
Well, when he goes the wrong way and somebody walks out of a store and goes the wrong direction because he forgets, oh, wait, sorry. Does that count?
That he said, I'm supposed to go this way.
Yeah, when he can't walk out of an ice cream shop without going the wrong direction, that kind of thing.
They told me not to talk about that. That's admitting a mistake, I guess.
Right, exactly. There you go. Here's the interesting thing. There's a story in the Hill about how much lawmakers are spending on personal security after January 6th, okay? Supposedly, the spending only includes campaign money, not taxpayer dollars, the Hill says, and likely only covers a fraction of the overall cost of ensuring safety of the members of Congress. Part of it is that these people, they should be walking among us. I mean, they should be safe. Yeah, there are crazies out there. I get that. I don't want politicians knocked off. But they live so differently than we do. They're not walking among the people. They're not flying among the people in most cases. They're not really dealing with us because they've forgotten about us since they got elected. You got nothing to say to that, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. There's something in my headphones, and
I feel like I'm talking to my husband
what
here.
You
Hello?
got on the computer over there, Ryan?
I feel like we're married, Ryan. Hello,
Look,
are you with me?
I gotta tell you, and it's 1:30. There has been a gnat flying around me all day, which means either that I need to take a bath or that this studio needs to be
It's probably
cleaned.
attracted to all the sugar in your tea.
One of the two. Yes.
Maybe that's it. Okay, so Raphael Warnock, remember this guy in Georgia? He was elected one of the Senate runoff elections. His campaign spent $200,000 at a small Atlanta security firm over the last 3 months. $200,000. Wow.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. These reports we've been getting the whole time, and it's okay if you want to have private security, but then you don't take away other people's security while you're having private security.
Well, see, thank you very much. That's the whole point. A lot of these people are the ones who want to take away your right or make it much more difficult for you to get your hands on a gun if you need something, but they're covered completely 24/7. They're good.
Yeah, it's just a bad look. I mean, we can say, oh, they're different things. This is a politician. They're always going to have private security, and they need it because there are crazies out there. That's fine. But it's a terrible look to be walking around with armed guards with you and then telling everybody else we need to defund the police. Right. You're just asking for people to point at you and go, hypocrite. Just like when the movie, the movie stars come out and with anti-gun propaganda stuff where they're standing in front of a white background. They're tearing up and they're saying we need to get rid of guns. And then you can cut to clips of them in movies firing off 50 rounds.
That doesn't count. Right. That doesn't count.
You can say it doesn't count all you want, but I'm saying it's so easy to point at it and say, look,
for sure.
This looks really hypocritical of you.
Right. Guns only solve problems in movies. Yeah. Not in real life.
What I'm saying is,
no, I know. I 100%
asking for that.
I 100% get what you're saying. 100%.
They're a bunch of idiots. What can I tell you? Okay, here's an update on the NFL. We'll talk more about this with Kevin Wheeler coming up next hour from KMOX. But the NFL has now said they've mandated that a game cannot be rescheduled due to a COVID-19 outbreak among unvaccinated players, and that the team will be forced to forfeit, resulting in a loss of playoff seeding. Wow.
Oh, can we attend these games again? I wasn't really even sure that we were.
I'm not going to because they're playing the Black National Anthem, which is ridiculous. I thought our anthem covered everybody. You're Black, you're an American, right? Did I miss something? So I'm so done with their wokeness. I'm not even going to watch football this year. And I love football. Love it. I'm mad. Got to tell you, I'm mad about it because I like the game so much. And I love to hear, you got, who's better? You got Aikman, Joe Buck and Aikman are great, right? Tony Romo, who's the guy who works with Tony Romo? Nobody cares. Who is it?
Tony, I missed. When you say Tony Romo, all I think of is Eastern Illinois University because he went there, and I think that's
right.
Cool.
That's very cool. Tony Romo is a much better analyst than he was a quarterback. Everybody knows that. And so, but I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss that a lot. And I'm angry about it. And I guess I could turn on the game after this whole thing stops. But I'm just so tired of their wokeness and their lack of appreciation for the fans and trying to make the NFL about politics. And then that ad they put out about how the NFL is gay. It's this, it's that. Really? How about if you just throw the ball and catch the ball? That's all I'm asking.
I wonder if Roger Goodell really does. I think we talked about this either with you or somebody else recently. If he thinks if this is a compromise, is this what compromise looks like in his mind? That he's saying, well, if we do this, then the players will stand for the actual national anthem and everybody will be happy. But he's really accomplishing the exact opposite of what he thinks he's doing, if that's the case.
Okay, I'm going to go to the terrorism aspect, all right, even though it's not quite the same, but it is. The mentality is the same. If you show weakness to a bully on the playground, and that bully wants your lunch box, not that anybody carries those anymore because the government pays for food, but okay, just go with me here for a second. So the bully wants your lunch box, and you show, okay, I'll just give you my lunch box. I'll appease him. What does the bully do? The bully doesn't go, oh, isn't that nice? The bully goes, sucker, give me your jacket too.
No,
right? That's the way it works.
That's very true. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's been our foreign policy in the past.
Thank you. That's the point I was making.
Yeah.
You don't win by appeasing people. It never works. Never works. And so trying to do, we'll give this, we'll give that, they're never happy. They go, oh, suckers. They want to be all woke. We'll make them more woke. Who knows what will happen next? Next thing you know, they'll hire, what's his name? Kaepernick back. Oh, brother.
I am interested to know how you got to that. Oh, you're talking about appeasement of the fans. I get it. I was trying to connect the dots because I went right to foreign policy and I'm like, whoa, NFL and foreign policy.
No, but because the principle,
right.
is the same. And when you said that you thought maybe Roger Goodell, we don't know, but you thought that maybe Roger Goodell was going to play the Black national anthem so that the people would stand for that and stand for the other. Okay, so it's all about appeasement.
Yes,
and that's the same mentality whether you're talking about appeasement on an international, level, or you're talking about appeasement of any kind of group of people. You give them an inch and they want everything. That's the way they function. That's the thinking of these people who really, it's like when you deal with the Palestinian problem, okay? When the Palestinians don't believe, it's one thing to say, I don't like you because you're this or that, which, is wrong. But when your neighbor doesn't believe you even have a right to exist, where do you go with that? You can't appease them. They've had multiple choices to have two separate countries. They don't want that. They don't think Israel deserves to even be there. They don't want to live side by side. They don't want that. Israel doesn't have a right to exist. So anytime you give in to them, it's just more terrorism because they go, suckers, they're weak. Look at this. Look how much more ground we could get. That's the thinking of all of these people. And when it comes to these ones who want to try to cancel you from social media, whatever, we've all seen that. The people who show up with pitchforks and torches to try to silence you. It's all the same kind of thinking. It's search and destroy. That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, it's a principle you can apply to so many things. And one of the things that comes to mind when you're talking about this is the laws that say we're not going to prosecute crime under $1,000 of theft. Well, that's a kind of appeasement because you're saying,
right?
Well, we'd love to prosecute all crime, but maybe if we relax these restrictions a little bit, things will get a little bit better, or we'll ease up on policemen. Well, obviously, things don't get better. They get worse. People go right up to that line. Then they say, oh, $950. I'm going to steal $950 worth of stuff then. That's it. That stuff never works when you sort of relax the rules because people will always take advantage of it.
Right. It's. Do you see that video online? I'm sure you did of those guys walking out of, I think it was a Target or something with a ton of merchandise because they know no one's going to stop them in California. They know no one's going to stop them. That's the whole point. I mean, a lot of people have said over the years, we're not winning the war on drugs. Okay, we'll just use that as an example. So therefore, let's make it legal. Well, we're not winning the war on car theft, murder, rape, robberies. Let's just make everything legal because we're not winning the war on it because people are always going to be evil and do bad things. So let's just give it up. Let's just give up and we'll just make it, I don't know, we'll turn it into A Mel Gibson movie. What's that one where they're on the road? Fury Road. That's a great movie. I don't care what anybody says. Let's just turn it into Fury Road. Let's all drive around these crazy vehicles in the desert, and it's every man for himself.
I don't think
honestly.
Mel Gibson was in Fury Road, but he was in the original Mad Max.
I don't think he was either. Who was in the Fury Road? Was
Tom
it
Hardy.
And who was the girl? It was Charlize Theron. That's a good movie. I don't care what anybody
That is a
says.
cool movie.
But that's the thing. But should we just make it every man for themselves? No rules anymore, because after all, it's such a hassle to chase down, auto thieves or, purse snatchers or burglars. It's such a hassle. We're not winning the war in it anyway. So therefore, might as well, a lot of money spent and wasted trying to chase these people down. So let's just make it all legal. Why not?
Well, I mean, we're getting kind of deep here, which I like. But you're talking about when you lose self-control, when people have to be policed so hard. And the bar just keeps getting lower and lower. So you have to keep allowing more crime to be legal when people can't self-police, because you can't police everything. And we're seeing we're seeing that happen across pretty much all of American society, that you have to sort of keep releasing the restrictions because you can't police everything so much, because there's no way to keep up with it. And then simultaneously, when you get rid of more police, it gets even harder.
Right. But if we prosecute these little crimes, because burglary, if you've ever been burglarized, that's a huge, huge problem. And there are a lot of people, if you've ever been burglarized, you know what a nightmare it is. You feel violated forever. And there are a lot of people who say, oh, it's a victimless crime, or I love this one. It's a nonviolent crime. Let's not prosecute nonviolent offenses. We've heard that how many times in political campaigns. But here's the thing. Anybody who's, been a burglary cop who's investigated these things, it's a nonviolent crime until they run into you when they don't expect to. And then you're dead. And I remember this because years ago, I was working in a flower shop, and I bring flowers. I'm back in high school, and I'm bringing flowers to all these different places. I go into this one place, this funeral home, and there's this really good looking guy, if you can believe it, good looking dead guy in a coffin, really good looking, 22 years old. And I said, oh my gosh, why is he here? And they said he surprised a burglar. 22 years old, dead. Good looking guy, dead. So here's the crazy thing. So fast forward 15 years. Now I'm doing talk radio for a living. His mother still was having to go up to the state capitol to try to keep this creep in jail. It never ends for victims. Never ends. And that's the whole problem. So burglary, it's not a nonviolent offense. First of all, you're in my house. And you could hurt me, you could hurt my kids, my pets, whatever. But ultimately, it's a matter of time. And how many times have you heard about that, where it becomes violent because these crazy druggies break into your house, they run into you in the kitchen, they don't expect you, they grab a kitchen knife, and it's all over. So, but we've heard people say, oh, it's a nonviolent offense. And when they talk about that, they don't mention burglary. They mention other things like it's a traffic ticket. It's not a traffic ticket. It's burglary. And all of those things should be prosecuted. When you stop these guys at that level, then it doesn't escalate to more things. That's the whole point.
Seems like the argument against nonviolent offense is they're stealing things. They're breaking into people's houses and they're stealing things. That's still illegal. You shouldn't do it.
Right. And when you're breaking into somebody's house, which a rational person doesn't do, having no idea when people are home, sometimes that happens. They really don't know if you're there. They just break in. There was a guy not too long ago in Vegas who somebody broke into his house at 9 o'clock in the morning. And the guy thought he was asleep, or he went to bed. His roommate just left. And I guess the burglar saw his roommate leave and thought there was no one in the house. Guy walks into the kitchen. Guy tries to kill him in his living room at 9 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, the owner of the house had a gun. I mean, how crazy is that? Guy came in to burglarize the place because he thought nobody was there. There you go. There's your nonviolent offender. Hoo-hoo! Anyway.
Well, as we wrap up here, just to let you know, Heidi, the Annie Frey Show Facebook and YouTube pages are blowing up. People asking, like Brad, for instance, someone remind Heidi that St. Louis doesn't like the NFL regardless. So,
well, who does like the NFL?
Well,
I don't like the NFL.
The Rams slighted us before everything became political anyway. So you're talking to the right audience. Nobody likes the NFL here.
Well, I'm mad at them. I love the game, and I'm mad that I'm not going to watch it this year. And I hate the Raiders. They're in Vegas now, costing us a fortune. I hate the Raiders. I'll never watch the Raiders. I'll never watch them. But I like football. Darn it. I'm mad at these people. All right. Take a quick break. Come back. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gsLhonorflight.org. And for free HVAC estimates, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Andrea's Steakhouse, Andrea's Steak Sauce, man, they make my job easy selling them. This is Ryan Wiggins. So they just keep winning awards. So I'm just going to tell you about the latest thing that they've won. CNN, I know it's CNN, but it's not political. They looked at the top barbecue grilling items in the world. So not just sauces, but anything that you could use to make your meat better. And Andrea's Steak Sauce was on the list, and it's made right here. It is world famous. I've said before that the King of Spain's ordered cases before. Apparently the White House, I just found this out too. The White House orders a case every single year. So for the last 3 decades, every president eats Andrea's Steak Sauce on their steaks. And of course, it's right here. It's a St. Louis item. It is St. Louis's locally owned, locally made steak sauce, but it is world famous. So if you haven't tried it, really strongly consider it. It's right here, and it is St. Louis famous, and it's world famous. And if you haven't tried it, you really should, to see what you're missing out on. Andrea's is a brush-on steak sauce, so a little bit different than normal steak sauce, and that's what makes it great. Check it out. Area grocery stores do carry it, but you can also pick up a bottle or a case at andreas.com.
Planning to chill out this summer? Ameren Missouri is offering up to $900 back when you purchase a qualifying HVAC system. So keep the heat where it belongs, on the grill. Find terms at participating contractors at AmerenMissouriSavings.com/HVAC.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service and Environmental Resources. At Hansen's, we manufacture a full line of garden and landscape products that are perfect for your outdoor project. Pick up any of our products at World Outdoor Emporium, Kirkwood Materials, or a Hansen's location near you.
Thinking of buying a house and want a really low interest rate? Owning has a special for home purchases, where Owning pays all your closing costs, and the rate in APR is an unheard of 1 3/4% for a 15-year fixed mortgage with 20% down. This is the craziest low rate for a mortgage with no closing costs that Owning has ever done. 1 3/4% rate in APR. Heck, we're almost paying you to live in a new house. Call 833-2-OWNING or go to owning.com to see if you qualify for this crazy low 1 3/4% rate. That's a fixed rate loan at 1 3/4% with no closing costs. Call 833-2-OWNING now, because 1 3/4 could go away at any time.
NMLS 2611, subject to credit approval. Call 833-852-6464 for terms and conditions. Equal housing lender.
That's 833-2-OWNING or owning.com. 833-2-OWNING or owning.com.
Mark Cox here, inviting you to join me and Mark Reardon for the Protecting Your Retirement educational event Tuesday, August 10th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com to reserve your seat. Here's Thomas with more.
Are you concerned how inflation might affect the stock market and your retirement accounts? Are you worried you won't have enough income to retire comfortably and live the same lifestyle as you are now? Do you wonder how long your money will last? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can now roll over your 401k or company plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? If you're nearing retirement or already retired, you don't want to miss this special event. See you Tuesday, August 10th at 6:30 p.m.
Protect that retirement nest egg. Join the official financial advisor of my show, Thomas Helbig, along with me and Mark Reardon at the Frontenac Hilton Tuesday, August 10th at 6:30. 314-993-9494 is the number, or go online at retirementkey.com. Mark Cox here. Guys, let Victory Men's Health help you regain your vitality by optimizing your hormones, vitamins, and sexual health. Victory Men's Health has the most cutting-edge technologies to treat ED. They have wave therapy. Listen, this is the biggest advancement for men with ED since the launch of Viagra. That's pretty incredible. They do the treatments in their office. Victory Men's Health offers wave therapy in both their Illinois and Missouri location. Check them out online today at victorymenshealth.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Dr. Charmaine Yost.
The Delta variant is more transmissible, but it's not different. It's the same COVID. So more transmissible does not mean less protection from the vaccine.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9. This is the Annie Frey Show.
those other networks are not a big fan of mine. One you talk about a lot. But if you notice, as they say in the southern part of my state, they've had an altar call, some of those guys. All of a sudden, they're out there saying, let's get vaccinated. Let's get vaccinated. The very people before this were saying, I shouldn't make fun of it. That's good.
Huh? What? I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. I don't even know what this guy's talking about. Here's a fun story. Did you guys see this? A man asked his girlfriend, apparently, to marry him at a minor league baseball game in Massachusetts, and apparently she turned him down.
Well, you know why? It was at a minor league game. Couldn't
Is
spring
that
for
what
the
the deal
major
is?
league tickets. Yeah.
It's on the field though. I'm just looking at it now. It wasn't one of those that somebody did in the stands and you can kind of blend in.
Oh, no, he made a big
They
deal
are
out of
on
it.
the field.
Oh, no.
And he is on one knee and she is like raising her hands like stop.
That's a bummer.
Apparently, she said, I have to go. Ran up the stairs and left him alone on one knee. I'd be almost tempted to say yes just to save the guy embarrassment and then change my mind later.
Yeah,
right?
but then there's that whole like he has this moment where he's on the field in front of all these people and the woman he loves said yes, and then 10 minutes later she's like, by the way, I wasn't serious.
I don't know.
That almost
Nobody's gonna follow
might be
that.
worse than the humiliation.
I think
Well, that's true.
I think I'd take the yes publicly, no privately for sure.
I don't know,
would do
to be
that too.
brought back up and then just brought way back down. I don't know. That's tough. That's you know what that is. That's
but then you can have that moment privately at least.
Yeah,
because
that's
he's
true.
doing
Exactly.
it on the dugout.
That's
I mean,
true.
we're looking at him, and the players are in the dugout looking back up at him like, "Whoa, man!"
Yeah, that's
And
true.
now we're talking about it in St. Louis. I mean,
yeah.
Now, Ashley Green is a photographer who filmed footage of the guy getting rejected. She said, without elaborating, that she thinks it may have been a stunt.
Oh,
you know
she's
what?
calling shenanigans.
I bet she's right. I bet she's right because minor league baseball teams are notorious for crazy stunts like that. I don't know if they've ever done this one, but
Are they? Is that a thing?
Oh my gosh, minor
Really?
league baseball, they stunt so much.
I knew they did like, fun things like the mascots that Major League doesn't do, but like stuff like that.
I mean, this one certainly is pushing the line.
Yeah, for sure.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
That's wild.
I can't even imagine. One person described it. He said the woman was horrified after the proposal. She ran up the stairs. The gentleman ran after her with two of his buddies. I saw the whole thing. It was horrifying. Really? Horrifying? I mean, it would be embarrassing. I don't know that it would be horrifying. I think that's
I don't know. I
bit
think there's
extreme.
a certain level of embarrassment that could qualify as horrifying.
Now, when did you ask your wife to marry? Was that public, Ryan, when you proposed?
Not public. So she was a teacher in Columbia, Missouri, and I lived here in St. Louis. And so I drove there and made, I don't know if this is cool or not. It's either really cool or really dumb. I made a scavenger hunt for her. See, Jake just let me know which way that goes.
I hate scavenger hunts. All right, go ahead.
Okay, well, I know which way this room
So
went.
I'm not your wife. One of the 100 reasons.
Hey,
why.
I'm in. This sounds like fun. I'm
So
married.
I put little like notes at different places throughout Columbia, Missouri that we had gone on dates or that were significant to us.
That's
and
sweet.
You made her drive?
Yeah. And I didn't tell her exactly where it was. It was just a hint. So I hoped for the best. And one of them was up real high and she couldn't reach it. She had to have somebody from the Blue Note, if you know.
Oh, I played there once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one of our first, not dates, but where we had kind of met in a group there. So I had it up on a sign near the Blue Note. And yeah, see, it's pretty cool, right?
That's super cool.
And her school was involved, not the students, but the principal or somebody gave her the first one at the end of her day. And so it took her around town. And then the last one was right back in her classroom where I was waiting on one knee.
I'm going to be
With flowers?
Yeah,
Flowers
I don't remember if I had flowers, but I had a ring. I know that.
That is amazing. But
Thank you.
If the one takeaway from this is that the principal gave her the first clue at the end of her workday. She drove around Columbia and ended up back at work.
Darn right.
And now, granted, I'm sure by the end of it, she felt like it was worth it. But at some point on the drive back to the school, she's like, I swear, if the last thing isn't here.
I was the original Circleback Saki.
Oh, I like that.
Thank
Circle
you.
back
Tied
Saki.
into politics.
Ding, ding,
Politic
ding, ding, ding.
jokes.
I like that. That's good. Circle back. I think that's a great story. I got engaged
is
in
nice.
public, but I kind of knew it was coming. We were at a restaurant. I kind of knew it was coming. So
Oh, so you went out to eat and it was a tradition. Like, did he get down on one knee and all this stuff?
Oh, yeah. But he had asked me to marry him previously, and I had to say no because I was dating somebody else at the time.
Whoa. Wait a minute. He asked you to marry him while you were dating someone else?
Yep.
That takes some cojones.
Well, and I loved it. I thought that I'd known him for 14 years. It's a long story. But I was dating somebody else, and he knew it wasn't going to go anywhere with this guy. And he was a perfectly nice guy. Nothing wrong with the guy, but, I wasn't going to ever marry him. And so he had been thinking about it for a while. And one of my friends said we had been in contact a lot. In fact, when 9/11 happened, and I'll make this very short because I know we got to take a break. When 9/11 happened, remember on the West Coast, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So the guy I was dating at that time called me and he said, turn on CNN. We didn't have Fox out there yet. Turn on CNN. I turned on the TV. I talked to him for a couple of minutes. And then I said, I'll call you back. And then I called my now husband, who was not my husband at that time, because that's the guy I wanted to share that moment with, not the guy I was dating.
And that's what made you realize that you didn't want to marry the West Coast guy?
Well, I knew I wasn't going to marry
9/11.
But when a major event like that happens and the person you want to share it with and talk to about it and all that, that's the guy. I mean, to me, it was a lot of things. He was an amazing guy. He is an amazing guy.
Oh,
man of character and integrity and all that. I can't rave enough about him. But that was part of it. I just thought, what am I wasting my time with this guy for? I mean, he was a really nice guy. But when my now husband and I went out to eat, and then we came back to my condo and he asked me to marry him. I'm like, whoa, totally didn't expect it. And once again, still dating this other guy. And so I had to kind of wrap that up, so to speak.
Was the proposal the nail in the coffin for the other guy? Was that where you knew, okay?
Or was it 9/11?
I had hardly seen him for months. I mean, I was busy doing other things. I had gone on morning drive and I had hardly seen him at all. And so I just needed to put the nail in the coffin. Listen, he got over me quick. Don't worry.
Long distance relationships are very difficult. And ours was just barely long distance enough. St. Louis to Columbia is about 2 hours. Right. So we were able to see each other enough to make sure that it worked. And then, the minute we got engaged, it was like, okay, now how do we get together? Because we can't continue this. But they are hard.
Well, they can be difficult. And anyways, when it's right, it's right. And it's right. But I don't know if it was a stunt with this guy or not with that baseball game.
I hope it was for his sake.
You think so? I hope it was too, because you're risking it. I mean, your face is on that board on the big screen, right in front of all those people, and everyone's looking at her. And oh my gosh, I can't imagine that happening.
If I were to do something that public, I would have to have a conversation before. I would have to have a really great private proposal, or at the very least have the conversation, like kind of toss it in there a couple weeks before, like just what if.
How many kids do you want?
Kind of feel it out first. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, you want to feel it out, see if there's any possibility before you get embarrassed, right? Yeah.
I gotta say, looking at the stills of it anyway, because I'm not watching the video, it looks staged. The more you said that,
you think so?
Yeah, it really does. And maybe it's just the moments they captured in these photographs, but they just look like they're acting. I don't know how to describe that.
Yeah, but we're all talking about it, so they've clearly succeeded in what they wanted to do.
No, they did great.
Stupid Red Sox.
Absolutely. Coming up next hour, Kevin Wheeler is going to join us. We'll talk about the internet, I'm totally spacing it now, with the Olympics. The International Olympic Committee is going to actually be using the pictures. Did you guys hear about this? The pictures of the athletes kneeling in the highlight reels. Really?
Of course we will. Of course we are.
Of course we are.
Let's protest America and use it against America.
Right. I'm glad the women's soccer team got their butts kicked. That makes me feel better because they deserve it. We'll talk about that with Kevin Wheeler coming up, and also this NFL thing about forfeiting games. We'll get to that with Kevin Wheeler coming up here in just a few minutes. And gas stations in New Mexico are going to be liable for selling fuel to drunk drivers. That's a fascinating story to me. So we'll talk about that next hour too, because I can't. And then if we have time, we'll get to the story about a guy who walked into a hospital, 24-year-old guy with a 12-year-old girl, and wondered why they were upset because she was in labor.
Whoa. Okay.
What?
If we have time,
let's lead with that one.
What's the problem? He didn't understand why everybody was upset. Hello?
Wow.
Oh, boy. We'll get to that and probably some other stuff coming up in the next hour of the Annie Frey Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
It's Christmas in July at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Our installation team of 100 master craftsmen are working full-time.
And stunning new floor styles and luxury vinyl have just arrived at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
It looks like wood, only waterproof. It looks like stone, but more durable and perfect for any flooring project.
Shop Ambassador Midwest Floor to see the largest selection of new hard surfaces available now.
To get what you really want, shop Christmas in July and experience more at Ambassador
Midwest Floor.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
The Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the med spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
St. Louis has been hit with an onslaught of storms this spring and summer that have produced hail and high winds. The areas of Town and Country, Ladue, Maryland Heights, Creve Coeur, Kirkwood, Richmond Heights have had some of the worst storm damage. Even minor storm damage can cause your roof to deteriorate and leak over time. But you can have your roof checked for free by the qualified roofing experts at St. Louis-based First Choice Roofing and Construction. For over 12 years, First Choice has offered free roof inspections. If you don't have hail and weather damage, we will tell you. If you do, we work directly with your insurance company and your insurance adjuster to make sure you're maximizing the restoration claim for your home. Schedule your free roofing evaluation now by calling 636-282-0090. That's 636-282-0090. 636-282-0090. Or book your free roof inspection online. FirstChoiceSTL.com. That's First Choice with the numeral FirstChoiceSTL.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
Sanctions for oppression. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden says the U.S. is holding the Cuban regime accountable and standing with the Cuban people by imposing sanctions for the recent crackdown on anti-government protesters.
The Cuban Ministry Special Brigade and a military leader will face sanctions for human rights abuses during the largest demonstrations in 3 decades. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
We'll continue to engage closely and coordinate with our international partners from the OAS to the UN and others to collectively condemn the actions of the Cuban government.
Cubans took to the streets, frustrated with the lack of basic supplies and medical care. The Biden administration says it's working with Congress to find options to restore internet service to Cubans, which was cut off by the government. At the White House, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
Federal health officials are urging unvaccinated Americans to take the Delta variant of COVID seriously as it continues to spread, especially in areas with lower vaccination rates. The White House responding with more resources.
We are sending $100 million to rural health clinics to support vaccine education and outreach efforts in these communities where we are generally seeing low vaccine uptake.
White House Coronavirus Response Coordinator Jeff Zients also says states hit hard by the Delta variant are now seeing an increase in vaccinations higher than the national rate. Meantime, the CDC says there's no change in mask guidance. They still consider a mask no longer necessary in most cases for fully vaccinated Americans. The CDC says it now has evidence an untreatable superbug fungus has spread in 2 hospitals and a nursing home. Outbreaks of the Candida auris fungus were reported in a Washington, D.C. nursing home and at 2 Dallas area hospitals. A handful of the patients had invasive fungal infections impervious to all 3 major classes of medications. America is listening to Fox News.
Nothing is more important than your vote. Now, Newsmax's Sean Spicer and Lindsay Keith are exposing the flaws in our voting systems and how to fix them. Watch Spicer and Company on Newsmax tonight for the real truth about your vote. Newsmax is on all major cable systems. Check your guide. Or watch Newsmax on most streaming systems or your smart TV. And download the free Newsmax app on your phone and start watching now. Newsmax is your trusted news source. Tune in today.
I miss my baby. Someone stole my baby. By the way, my baby is my landscaping truck that was literally stolen from a job site. Baby, won't you please come home?
Owning a small business isn't always as lovely as it sounds, but with 30-plus customizable coverage options, Progressive Commercial keeps your business humming along. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
I love my sweetheart. By the way, that's my riding lawnmower.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Partly to mostly sunny skies with us this afternoon, a little more humid, 90 degrees. The difference today is we're going to start to notice the haze and the smoke work its way towards the ground. What that means is we may actually smell a little smoke around. That's coming from the Pacific Northwest fires. Tonight, clear but hazy, smoky skies, 72, 80s during the evening. Same story on Friday. Still haze and smoke around, 90 degrees Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your current one, Rocket Mortgage can help you get there. For home loan solutions that fit your life and your budget, Rocket can.
Spring is a great time to upgrade the energy efficiency in your home with new windows. Mark Cox here from my friends at Window World. I'm a satisfied customer. You will be too. Call them today for a free home estimate. They'll show you why they are simply the best for less. Window World windows are so durable. They stand behind their windows with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts and glass breakage and labor. They were ranked #1 in windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine, and they're the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. Window World does great work, as they did in my home when they replaced 2 large bathroom windows. They measured them, they built them, and got them installed in no time. You will love working with my friends over at Window World. They're now offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Call them today at 314-993-1800, 993-1800, or windowworld.com.
What's holding you back from solving your tax problems? If it's cost, know that the longer you wait, the more expensive it'll be. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Tax resolution doesn't have to be expensive, and waiting year after year to resolve your tax problems can be extremely costly. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. So take the first step now and hire a tax resolution attorney to help you. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. But the longer you wait, the more interest and penalties you'll pay. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At Performance Eye Care, we put the utmost care in our eye exams. If you're avoiding your eye appointment because you fear the dreaded air puff, or you're scared of leaving with dilated eyes for the rest of the day, worry no more. By utilizing the latest technology, we've been able to eliminate the uncomfortable air puff, and we don't need to dilate your eyes. That means no anticipatory blinking and no discomfort. Just a simple state-of-the-art instrument yielding more accurate results. At Performance Eye Care, we also care about your time. That's why we offer same-day appointments with flexible scheduling. Now is the time to schedule your child's back-to-school eye exam. Kids typically don't know if they can't see well and have rapid changes to eyesight as they grow. Children need to see an eye doctor every year. You can secure your back-to-school appointment with one of our friendly eye care professionals at any of our 8 metro area locations on both sides of the river. Now at performanceeyecare.com. That's performanceeyecare.com.
Discover a unique variety of music stations made just for you with new exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Relive the British invasion of the 60s with Counter to the Culture.
Listen to tracks handpicked by Chris Martin with Coldplay's Infinity Station.
Or sail away with Jugger Yacht, the best in yacht rock.
There are hundreds of new music stations to check out today.
From arena rock to today's hits and more.
For every mood,
every interest,
every passion. By Odyssey. Listen now with the Odyssey app.
97.1 FM Talk is now streaming on the Odyssey app. It's your home for streaming The Mark Cox Show, Brian Kilmeade, The Annie Frey Show, and Mark Reardon on your phone. The Odyssey app for streaming 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is The Annie Frey Show.
And you got a great dog there, kid.
By the way, that is Danielle Lippy. She's a student here at the university, and she's a Republican. She's got a question for you. Go ahead, Danielle.
But your dog's a Democrat, I can tell. I'm teasing. I'm a big dog person. I'm sorry.
Her name's Wonder.
Okay.
You're a big dog person. How many times has his dog bitten anybody?
Didn't they have to just put their dog down recently at the White House?
The other one died. They had 2 of them. They had an older one, I think named Major, and then they had a younger German Shepherd. And I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. You know what? German Shepherds are fantastic dogs. They happen to be pretty much my favorite breed of dog. But they're not good for every situation. Okay, they're not good in busy rooms with a lot of people walking around. They're protective. Anyway, Joe Biden.
That was probably the best moment from last night because that was a decent joke. We gotta give him credit when he does something good. Let's go ahead and give him the thumbs up. When that was an okay joke.
Poor Joe.
Your dog's a Democrat. Okay, that's what I meant.
Okay.
I don't get it.
Heidi doesn't like it. I don't think. No, we've lost Heidi.
My dogs are Democrats too. You know why? They don't work for nothing around here. Right? I don't see them out there working. I don't see them out there herding sheep, guarding the house. My dogs don't do squat, and they still get fed every day. How is that?
We got to put fake weights on their back to make them feel like they're working. That's how lazy they are.
Just not that long ago, I bought a backpack that my dog can wear while hiking to carry dog's own water. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah.
You buy a little backpack that's on their back, and it holds a bunch of those little water bottles, okay? Because I used to haul a gallon of water up the mountain myself, and I'm like, wait a second here.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this
Make
picture?
the dog do it.
Right. Why am I hauling this stuff up the mountain? Haul your own water, pal. So that's what I do now. But
I had a St. Bernard until a couple years ago. Not
great.
Quite full size like Beethoven St. Bernard, but a St. Bernard for sure.
Yeah, they're great.
And it was like a short hair, so a little bit different looking. And they always said, oh, these are great mountain dogs, and they would do all this work, and they carry the barrel under their chin and all that stuff. That dog could never have done a day's work in its life. That was the laziest thing I've ever seen. And we loved her for it. We loved that. That was a lazy,
that's how we are.
dog.
We're Americans. We spoil our dogs
Yeah.
rotten. That's what it comes down to. Here's a crazy story. A couple of things we're going to get to this hour. Kevin Wheeler is going to join us from KMOX, as you know. We'll probably talk a little bit about the Olympics, and we'll talk about this new rule that the NFL has about forfeiting games if a game has to be canceled because somebody unvaccinated causes COVID-19. We'll get to that. coming up with Kevin Wheeler. Wanted to mention this. New Mexico Supreme Court has now ruled that gas stations have a legal duty not to sell gasoline to intoxicated drivers.
I don't like it.
Well, yeah, because most of the time when I get gas, what do you use your credit card? How do they know if you're drunk? Because you can't find where the nozzle goes? I don't know.
Exactly. We were going to talk about this story yesterday, and me and Jake were actually talking about it off air because it's an interesting story because
it is an interesting story.
You're talking about liability and who's liable if somebody gets hurt because of a drunk driver. I really don't think that the gas station should be held responsible. But he talked about having friends who worked at gas stations that they monitored that kind of stuff pretty carefully, which I wasn't aware of, Jake. Yeah.
Wait, let me back up, Jake, before we get to you on this. If people come inside, you monitor? I mean, that would be obvious, but what if they're outside?
So I don't know if this is universal with all gas stations. I'd be honestly surprised if it wasn't, but I had a buddy who worked at a gas station for a couple of years, and he would tell me that they have cameras out there, and he has a monitor for, I don't know if it's like a few pumps or every individual pump or whatever, but whenever somebody would be kind of acting a little bit sketchy, because he would keep an eye on the screens, he would watch that pump a little closely just to see what was going on. And I was never there because I would go up there to get a soda and say hey or whatever, but and he'd be watching the monitor. He'd be like, hold on, I got to watch this guy on pump whatever because,
Interesting. Okay, here's the question. I don't know the answer to this. Can he turn the pump off from inside if you don't like what you're seeing?
I think so, because a lot of times don't they have to get pre-approval? They call out to you and they say pump 4, you're good to go.
Well, usually you go in. I mean, you should go in, $20 on pump number 6, and it just starts flowing.
I guess he could shut it off. I don't know. I don't. Because what would be the legality of that? Like some guy's obviously drunk and filling up his car. Like could you as the clerk stop the gas?
Well, that's the thing. And now the court ruled that in the situation where the driver's paying directly at the pump, that would be in an individual situation decided by a jury. In individual cases. Also, Tennessee holds gas station attendants liable for selling gas to drunk drivers. So it's kind of anyway, it comes from a 2011 case in which a drunk driver was involved in a fatal crash after leaving the gas station. Shortly after he left, he went on the wrong side of the road, killed some people. But I'm just trying to figure out, I don't think anybody would obviously sell gas to somebody they knew was drunk. I can't imagine that happening, but you don't know. You can't watch everything.
I could see a gas station being liable if it was clearly this guy is drunk, but they didn't notify the police. Like, wouldn't that be the only move that you have?
That seems like the only play that you should have.
Right. It's like,
I don't think you should, the gas station should be liable, because what if the guy's not watching close enough, or you're drunk, but you're not a stumbling drunk. You're a slurring drunk, but you walk fine.
Yeah.
You can't tell that person's drunk. They go out and they killed a family. Well, then you're going to come back to the gas station and say, well, he was drunk. Well, how I didn't know. I couldn't tell if he was drunk, but then you're liable.
Right about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That just seems wrong.
Or maybe they call the cops if they really suspect something, but you're right. I think that's putting a lot on a clerk who's doing 14 other things at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, because what happens if it's like an overnight shift and it's one guy that's stocking shelves and cleaning the bathrooms and doing everything he has to do.
Right.
Yeah,
I could see them. I could see them trying to pass a law that it's at least a little more enforceable. That if you see something suspicious, call the police and say, "Look, I think you might want to take a look. This guy looked like he was drunk. He's getting back in his car. I couldn't quite tell," and that you put a little more responsibility on the people in the gas station for that. But I don't know how you're supposed to say, "No, I can't sell you gas." Because you could just think somebody was drunk who's not, like if you have a speech impediment or something, you go, oh, no, you're drunk. No, I don't. I have a speech impediment.
It all comes down to the observational skills of the clerk or clerks. And then, of course, like you were saying, what if it's not a stumbling drunk? What if somebody that he walks in, but he's not a slurring drunk either? And he's perfectly fine. But everything going on up here is not fine. But everything on the outside, you can't tell.
Right. Alcohol affects people differently. I've done, used to do, believe it or not, every year during DUI Awareness Month in Vegas, we used to have the highway patrol come in and they would test my blood alcohol and I would literally drink on the air in the morning.
Oh, that's awesome.
We did this every year and they would test me after 1 or 2 drinks or whatever. And now I can, believe it or not, and this is going to shock you, I can talk long after I can't really walk very well. right? So if I were to talk,
That's how I am too.
exactly. So I can keep talking. So you may think you're okay, but you can be physically, to my knowledge, in every state, you can be arrested for DUI, even if you come under the legal limit, if they feel you're impaired, because I feel impaired much lower than the actual blood alcohol content allowed in the state.
Now, are you a happy drunk or are you an angry drunk?
I'm a happy drunk. Very happy.
Me too. I'm friends
I feel
with
like
everybody.
either answer wouldn't have surprised me.
Well, you know what I think? I think the real you comes out when you're drinking.
Oh, for sure.
And as crusty as I can be about certain things like politicians ripping us off and things like that, I'm a very happy person. I'm a happy, grateful. When I get, and what, I don't drink much, but when I do, and I've had more than one time in my life been, inebriated, you just, I'm like that. I'm not angry, but I know people who are. Boy, the mask comes off real fast. You get a couple beers in them.
I don't think I've ever
funny to watch.
encountered an angry drunk, at least not
somebody who
angry
just start complaining.
Yeah.
They start talking about how everything's messed up and that's what I mean. Not necessarily like,
no,
I'm gonna
yeah.
fight
No, I
everybody
don't think I've been around anybody that was, I mean, if they are an angry drunk, they certainly weren't angry around me. But other than that, every drunk I've ever been around has been happy-go-lucky, won't stop talking.
Or they might say things they otherwise wouldn't say. They might
yeah.
be more critical of things they might not. I used to know a girl who was a really nice girl, easygoing girl, but when she got drunk, she got so mean.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't really gotten drunk lately, but when I did, back when I was younger a couple times, I know for sure that I embarrassed myself because I would walk around telling everybody how much I loved them.
Oh, I'm the emotional drunk too. If I'm ever out and somebody texts me, like a buddy of mine who I haven't talked to in a while, if I'm drunk enough, I'll be like, "Hey man, just FYI, like I love you, buddy.
Yeah,
you're awesome."
You know what? But I think that when you are in a situation where you have some kind of control over what's happening and somebody you think is drunk. I remember one time years ago, I walked into there were two restaurants. There was a restaurant and a bar, and there were two next to each other. And I went into the wrong one looking for a friend of mine who was playing in a band. And I looked around and I said, "There's no stage here. They're not here." And right as I walked in, I said to this guy who was walking out, I said, "Is there a band playing somewhere I don't see?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't know." And he had his car keys in his hand, at a go cup, and he was wasted. And I said, "I'll tell you what, buddy, why don't you come with me? We're going to go to the next place." And I literally locked arms with him and took him over to the next place. Sat down with him for about 2 hours till my husband showed up like a half an hour later. My friends were playing in this band. I put his car keys in my purse, and I didn't let this guy move for like 2 hours.
And wait, this was a stranger?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Good Samaritan.
And the hostess said to me, "Thank you," because she didn't know what to do. The guy was wasted and headed for his car. And I don't know. Turned out he was a lawyer. How funny is that? I found that out later on. But I just sat with him at the table and didn't give him his keys back. And we all had a good time. And we talked. And my husband showed up. And another friend showed up. We had a really good time. But you aren't leaving.
So
I can't control everything, but I stopped that guy.
So tying that into the gas station thing, if you're at a restaurant and a waitress or a waiter or something, not like manager, not like an owner. Yeah, like if someone is so clearly drunk, are they allowed to take any kind of action to prevent that guy from driving, or do they have to go tell their manager? And what can the manager even do?
Well, that's the problem. Sometimes you don't know, especially if people are paying for the alcohol and that's what they expect. When I was a waitress in a casino years ago, cocktail waitress, I'd have people in there once in a while. And one guy used to come in there every day, play poker, and he wanted vodka. He wanted screwdrivers, right? So he was already drunk when he got there. So I just brought him plain orange juice. For years, the guy never knew. Years, just plain orange juice. So here's what happened. The guy wasn't paying for it anyway. Who cares? He didn't get drunk. He got to stay all day instead of getting kicked out after an hour because he was drunk. He was happy. I was happy. Hoo-hoo. There you go.
That's a good story. But it does tie back around. Like in New Mexico, if they're going to start prosecuting the gas station, doesn't it make more sense that they would try to start prosecuting a bar that was I mean, are there laws like that now? I don't know. It seems like there already would be things like that.
And then what happens if a clerk calls the cops and the guy wasn't drunk at all? Then you wasted the police officer's time. You wasted that guy's time. You wasted your own time.
But it's wasting. And there are some states that have dram shop laws where you're held liable for something that happens. Other states you're not. It just depends. But ultimately, you've got to be responsible for your own behavior. But the problem is when you're drinking, what's the first thing that goes? Your judgment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after you've had one or two, you think you're fine. I mean, and how many cops, they'll all tell you this. You pull somebody over. First of all, they think they're fine. It's easier to drive than to walk, I guess, when you're drunk. Then they'll tell the cop, "I had 2 beers. That's what they always say. 2 beers. They might not remember.
They're holding
they have
up
a
3
3-day
fingers too.
Right,
when they
exactly.
say it.
3 fingers.
they're holding
Yeah.
up 2 fingers on each hand.
Ossifer, I only had 2.
Two
I had that
beers.
test one time. I got pulled over by the highway patrol coming back from skiing one time, and he said, "Were you drinking on the mountain?" I'm not. Why would I drink when I'm skiing? Can we start with Sonny Bono? I can't ski, babe. Why would I ski and drink? Why would anyone ski and drink? Okay, first of all, I'm not that good a skier. And I said, "No, sir, I was not drinking on the mountain." And he made me get out of the car. Cars are whizzing by. I'm out there doing it's called the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. You know, when they make you look at the
Touch your
their
nose and
finger.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do the finger, the nose. I'm out there like an idiot. Cars are whizzing by. They're like, sucker. I was not drunk. I hadn't been drinking anything. And he's got me out there, highway patrol, and I'm embarrassed, but I wasn't drunk, thank God.
Did he make you do the backwards alphabet?
Because, well, he realized when I passed the horizontal gaze nystagmus test that I was okay. He realized at that point.
Can you do the backwards alphabet even if you're sober?
Way. No way.
Can I have some time on that and get back to you?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll do it after the break. we'll try it out.
All right, coming up, talk a little sports with Kevin Wheeler from KMOX. We're going to get to the Eric Clapton story. He's made a statement now about who he is willing to perform in front of. That's pretty interesting. And we'll talk about the guy who showed up in an emergency room with a 12-year-old girl who was in labor, and he doesn't know why people are upset that she's 12 and he's 24. We'll get to that coming up on the Annie Frey Show. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Annie Frey.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. That's right, weight loss seminar Monday, August 2nd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in St. Louis, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Registration begins at 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminar starts at 8 p.m. Registration starts at 7:30.
Annie Frey here, wondering if you're concerned that you're not going to have enough income in retirement to live comfortably. Well, I have a free event for you. It's Thomas Helbig, our friend here at 97.1 FM Talk, sponsor of the Annie Frey Show, as well as this station, who is going to give you this free event where you can learn how to protect your retirement. Wonderful that he has been able to provide this for so many other 97.1 listeners. And now it's your turn, and you're going to get to check this event out for free. Stick around for the absolute details that you're going to need to know to reserve your spot here in just a minute. Thomas Helbig can put you on the path where comfort and success and ridding yourself of that anxiety, it's all going to be solved. But if you're looking to protect your retirement, go with the very best that St. Louis has to offer, Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group. Here's the details on how to get registered.
Thanks, Annie. Mark Cox here. Join me, Mark Reardon, and Thomas Helbig at the Frontenac Hilton Tuesday, August 10th at 6:30. Call 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. Hey, it's Mark Cox. So you've decided to sell your home, but now how do you sell it for the most money with the least stress? It's easy. Just call Gloria Liu with GL International Realty, part of the Coldwell Banker Premier Group. Gloria is the St. Louis real estate authority. She has an outstanding team that sells twice as fast and for about 3% more than other realtors. That's about $12,000 more on a $400,000 home. That's because Gloria has the buyers. Gloria showcases your home to her pool of over 9,000 screened and ready buyers. That results in increased demand and often multiple offers. But here's the best part. Gloria guarantees to sell your home at your agreed to price, or she'll buy it herself. No wonder Gloria Liu's sellers love working with her. Call the realtor we trust and recommend. Call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
Hey, you know the saying, what happens at the barbecue stays at the barbecue. Hot July days are best enjoyed with friends, family, and of course, grilling your favorite barbecue treats. But before you know it, sticky fingers, falling utensils, and spilled sauces somehow always make their way into your home. Lucky for you, Zero Res can get it out with carpet, tile, area rug, and upholstery cleaning services. Zero Res has you covered for whatever messes make their way inside your home this summer. They have experienced technicians that know how to best clean and care for each of those unique surfaces in your home with their patented cleaning system. And don't forget about the air ducts. Your air ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air quality suffers. According to the EPA, indoor air may be 2 to 5 times, sometimes more than 100 times more polluted than outdoor air. Trust the team at Zero Res to get everything clean for you. Schedule your cleaning at ZeroResSTL.com. Ask for the KFTK Mark Reardon special to get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, starting at just $129. Take $50 off the air duct cleaning, 474-2020. Don't forget to tell them that Mark Reardon sent you.
Selecting a financial advisor is one of the most important decisions you will make heading into retirement. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money every Saturday morning at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Choosing a financial advisor is a critical step in planning for your retirement. You want to find an advisor you can trust is working in your best interest with the experience to do the job well. Providing guidance solely in your best interest is foundational to our team's approach. And with over 90 years of combined experience, you can have confidence we have the depth of knowledge to help you navigate important financial decisions. If you're retiring in the next 5 years or need a second opinion on your current plan, contact us today for a free consultation. To schedule your free retirement planning consultation, contact us at bobstockdale.com. That's bobstockdale.com. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
If it's happening in the world, the country, or the community, then it's happening here. This is where St. Louis comes to talk. And you've made it the #1 talk station in St. Louis. 97.1 FM Talk, the place for ideas. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Annie Frey. How you doing? This NFL thing is fascinating to me. Kevin Wheeler's here from KMOX Sports. How are you, Kevin?
I'm good. What's new?
I'm looking at this NFL thing. This is a big deal. Apparently, the NFL is going to, if their game gets canceled because somebody gets COVID, he's not vaccinated, they're not only are they going to forfeit the game, nobody's even getting paid, I guess, for that week, huh?
It's crazy. You know, they're doing the same kind of thing in college now, too. The conferences like the SEC and all that, they're saying the same kind of thing that if you're not gonna be able to get your team where you need to be in terms of vaccine coverage, we don't have the ability anymore to push these games around and move them like we did last year and all of that. We're going to make sure that, if there's a problem, then that's just a loss. And I got a feeling it won't end up being that big of a deal. I have a feeling it's not going to happen very much. But I guess you obviously never know. And with every, it's especially, really either one of these sports, but the fact that, every state is so much different, right? I mean, a team in Alabama has, much higher standard to meet than a team that's, let's say, I don't know, where some of the higher percentages in vaccinations. I don't know if it's Illinois or not, but I know that that's going to be a major thing. And look, they're just putting it on all these guys and saying, and really, individuals, right? Not just teams, but putting it on all of them and said, hey, listen, you guys got to take care of this because if you don't, you lose out.
But here's the thing. I speak with Kevin Wheeler from KMOX. What I don't understand is this. There are people who are vaccinated, obviously, who are still getting COVID. Everybody freaks out. We're going to shut everything down, forfeit the game, or close things down. When I got COVID, people at the radio station I worked for, nobody else went home. I went home. When somebody else got it, they went home. Somebody else who worked in the same room with me didn't get it, and I got it. So go figure. My point is that if somebody's gotten this and they're vaccinated, and they're an asymptomatic spreader, or they test positive for this Delta variant, what are you going to do? You're going to blame the whole team? You're not going to know if it came from somebody on the team who was unvaccinated or vaccinated because those people are still getting it.
Right. And that's the thing is, like if you look at how it went down last year, so we'll stick with the NFL on this because they had pretty clear protocol. It doesn't mean one or two positives doesn't mean shut the whole thing down. Right. They go through their whole contact tracing program and then, okay, so this player, that player, they can't play, or they have to sit for 2 days, or they have to retest every couple of days, right? They have these different protocols for every guy that depending on your level of contact with the person. So what they're saying is if you can't field a team, so you think about this, the NFL, they have a 54-man roster. If you can't field 30 guys, 35 guys, well, then you're in a forfeit. So it's going to have to take a major problem for a team to have to sit that many people, because that didn't even happen last year pre-vaccine.
Right. It'll be interesting to see what happens, how enforceable this is. That's the whole point. And once again, I don't know how they're going to try to blame somebody. They're basically saying, as you see, that it's the unvaccinated players they're going to try to blame this on. They're going to try to blame everything on unvaccinated people. And that's unfortunate because it's not necessarily those people who are getting this.
No, and I don't know that they're trying to blame. I think that, I mean, look, we all know how this goes, right? I mean, like, what does any major business want to avoid, right? They want to avoid any liability. So I'm sure that, there's a lot of lawyers that have something to say about how they want to go about this. That way, if something ever terrible did happen, hey, we took all of our steps, we covered all the protocols, and you follow on down the line.
Yeah, well, it makes no sense to me. And I don't know how people are feeling. What are you hearing from people, KMOX, about the NFL playing the Black National Anthem first? Do people care? Are they just disgusted with the NFL in general? What are they saying? Maybe some people don't care.
I think it's probably, like, for example, we've heard this all along in the last few years, right? Regardless of what's happening. There are a lot of people that didn't like, for example, players taking a knee, right? It really didn't end up impacting ratings very much. It didn't impact. People are going to be bad about it. There's no question about that. And some people will walk away. Some people will say, I don't like this. I don't think it's necessary. And for whatever reason, this doesn't go along with what I believe. And I think other people are going to be like, you know what? I want to watch football. I got $200 on this game. I'm not going to care about it. Watch the game, and that's it. I really think there will be people that are like anything. There are going to be people that are ticked off about it. There will be a percentage that walk away, and I think the rest of them are going to be like, it's football. I don't watch the pregame anyway.
Yeah, there's probably a lot to be said for that. We're speaking with Kevin Wheeler from KMOX. Let's talk about the Cardinals. Ryan wants to talk about the Cardinals.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to, Kevin, before we get into the deep stuff with the Cardinals, just transitioning from that conversation to the Cardinals, what has COVID impacted all the major sports as much this year as, well, golf I've seen a lot, but is it impacting baseball as much as it was?
Not really. I mean, there are a few players here and there that end up on the COVID list. Like the Yankees have, I think, 3 or 4 guys that have to sit out for about another 5 or 6 days. So they're going to miss 10 days, assuming the negative tests come back. But no, not really. I mean, we saw what happened with the Cardinals last year, right? I mean, they had their outbreak. Everything got shut down for more than 3 weeks, and then they had to make it all up in a 30-day span. I mean, they played a ridiculous number of games in a short amount of time to get them all in. And they've had nothing like that this year. They haven't had anybody that I'm aware of that's missed games because they're on the COVID list. You might have had some people that had some scares here and there, but no, the Major League Baseball has not been anywhere near as impacted by it this year as it was last year.
Yeah, and has that been because COVID has just gotten better, or has MLB changed their policy toward COVID?
Both, I think. Okay. I mean, I think that, they changed a lot of the restrictions, right? For all of the teams that meet a certain standard, they test less. If they have a certain, I think it's 85%, or it might not quite be that high. It's 80-85% of the roster has been vaccinated. They won't test them as often. They don't have to follow as many strict protocols. But the reality is, fewer people are coming up positive, right? I mean, that's the fact. And the ones that do, they end up, being placed on the COVID list. They've got specific rules, like you got to sit out the 10 days. You got to isolate. When if you test positive for 2 or 3 days in a row, you're back. Test negative 2 or 3 days in a row. Well, you're back. You're all good to go. And I haven't heard anybody though, any of the players that did test positive that have had seriously negative outcomes or impacts, right? I mean, we heard that from some of the Cardinals last year. Carlos Martinez had a really tough time with it. Paul DeJong didn't really recover from it last year, even though he recovered. I mean, he didn't really get back to being himself, and he never really was physically what he needed to be. But haven't seen that at all in baseball this year. It's been pretty smooth.
Yeah, are the Cardinals back to full capacity, and are they rare? Is that the same across the country, or is it different by state and by city?
Yeah, Cards are back at full capacity. That was, I want to say, first or second homestand in June. So It's been a little bit more than a month now that they've been basically full capacity. And, we've seen this, with the Cubs in town, they're not totally sold out, that's the difference. In the past, Cards Cubs can mean, 43, 44,000 people at the games. And they've been in the mid 30s, upper 30s here in this series, but it's also weekdays instead of weekends. And let's also be honest, neither team is performing all that great, right? I mean, that's part of why you may have, a few thousand fewer than you normally would. But yeah, they're normal. And it's still a little bit different in other places, but most places right now are full open and ready to go.
So the Cardinals are at 48-48. They're, right even there. Is this, I think we've talked to you before that you were expecting them to be a little bit above 500. Is this kind of what you were expecting, or we below where they should be right now?
They're definitely below where they should be. It's not like it's 10 or 15 games worse, right? But they should definitely be a handful of games better. And when you're looking at how maddening it is for fans, and I'm sure for the team too. I'm sure the front office. I'm sure the coaching staff is confused as to why they're having such a problem with walking people and hitting batters. I mean, it's been unusual, right? I mean, they've allowed the most walks, hit the most batters, and had the most wild pitches in baseball this year. And that is completely different than what the Cardinals are year in and year out. And that's probably, I mean, there are a lot of things that go into being good and winning a handful more games, but that's probably the difference between them being where they are and where they should be.
Yeah, I keep seeing that people are waiting with bated breath for Miles Michaelis to return, as if that's going to change everything. How close is it that he could return, and how much will it change things?
Well, he's set to be on a rehab assignment this weekend, but he's going to need a little time to build up and get himself physically ready. So they're talking about, hopefully mid-August minus any setbacks. So basically we're looking at 2.5 weeks to get him up to like major league speed, not just, I'm not talking about velocity or anything. Like, I'm talking about the number of innings and pitches he's going to be able to throw and recovering from each outing and being ready to go. And he'll definitely help, man. I mean, we talked about that issue with walks and stuff. He's a strike thrower. So having one of your more proven starters back should be a boost. But, the question is, how far back are you behind Milwaukee by the time you get him? And then, it sounds like Jack Flaherty's right behind him, maybe a week and a half behind him. You get those guys back and you still have a shot. Well, that's going to enhance your chances for sure.
Yeah.
Kevin Wheeler, KMOX, our sister station. Thank you for the update. Great talking to you again.
Glad to do it anytime. You guys take care.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know what COVID's going to do to any season this year. I really don't know how much it's going to affect anything.
It just seems like a weird policy that you were talking about with the NFL to start this segment, that they're going to treat people who get COVID differently if they're unvaccinated versus if they're vaccinated. That seems
exactly right.
I mean, that's obviously putting pressure on people to get vaccinated,
of course.
But it doesn't, outside of the obvious pressure campaign that they're mounting there, it doesn't make any sense for the gameplay on the field or the way that the teams would respond to it.
Yeah, and apparently unless they have an agreement with the NFLPA, they're not going to be able to do it. The Players Association, they're not going to be able to do this. They can't enforce it. They can't force them to get the vaccine. So they try to make your life miserable instead.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
And use and pressure the teams to pressure the players, right?
Well, isn't that the truth? The government can't be everywhere, so they've turned us against each other. That's what they've done for a year and a half here.
Well, they're powerful enough that they can do things like this. They hit people in the pocketbook because they have endless pockets. So they do things like this. They do a weird story to tie into it, but the Larry Elder story out of California, that Secretary of State that said, no, you can't run because I found a typo on your form or something. Yeah. Well, that doesn't cost her any money, but it cost Larry Elder tons of court fees. And then he won, so he's back on the ballot, but he had to spend a bunch of money to do that. That's the way the government works.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Absolutely. Want to mention another news when it comes to the Olympics. The kneeling Olympians, remember those folks? Anyone who's done that apparently is going to be shown in the highlights and on social media, according to the AP. Really?
So we want to show America that this is America.
Right. We want to show these other countries when people are beating our doors down to get into this country, how much it sucks because these people don't appreciate it. I'm so glad the women's soccer team got their butts kicked by Sweden. I know it's not over for them, but they deserve it. They don't appreciate our country. They really don't. So sick of these people. All right, coming up, Eric Clapton has taken a stand on whether or not people should be vaccinated at places where he's playing. We'll get to that. And the guy who walked into a hospital with a 12-year-old girl in labor doesn't understand why the staff there said, what, you're the father? There's a problem here. We'll get to that coming up next on the Annie Frey Show. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Annie Frey.
Another one bites the dust, and another one gone, and another one.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 52 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Big news. She said yes. My girlfriend loved the ring so much, she started to cry.
I gotta hand it to Shane Company. They made it easy for me to create the perfect engagement ring. I knew my girlfriend wanted a halo ring, so when I met with a jewelry consultant, we started with that and my budget. He showed me ring settings in my price range. I felt no pressure to buy. For the Cinderstone, we looked at diamonds first. Then he showed me their beautiful sapphires, an option I hadn't even considered. And what a selection. They had over a dozen colors to choose from. He said that Tom Shane hand selects their sapphires in Bangkok. I ended up choosing a blue sapphire. I hadn't planned on that, but once I saw how the diamond halo framed the sapphire, I knew it was perfect for her. She's really one of a kind. And well, that's what I love about her. And we're still getting lots of compliments on the ring.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business, Shane Company. Open weekdays till 8, Saturday and Sunday till 5, and online at shaneco.com.
Michael's Flooring Outlet in 3 different locations across the St. Louis area, conveniently located for you on Main Street in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70 in West County. It's Olive Boulevard, 1 mile off 270 West in Olive. You can also visit them in Darien Prairie and see the beautiful flooring options that they have for you. When I went to talk to Michael about his business and where he came from, it's a really great homegrown business story, been in business over a quarter century, treating people with you, just like you, with the dignity and respect that you deserve, and giving you a very fair price on a value product. If you are looking on a quality product, I should say, if you are looking for a solution for your home or for your business, you can reach out to Michael's Flooring Outlet and you're going to get treated fairly. That's what these local businesses and supporting these local businesses is all about. If you're interested in getting a free in-home estimate, log on to the website at igotfloored.com, click on the Schedule Now button right there at the top of the page and get the process started with the best today. Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloored.com.
Thinking of buying a house and want a really low interest rate? Owning has a special for home purchases where Owning pays all your closing costs, and the rate in APR is an unheard of 1 3/4% for a 15-year fixed mortgage with 20% down. This is the craziest low rate for a mortgage with no closing costs that Owning has ever done. 1 3/4% rate in APR. Heck, we're almost paying you to live in a new house. Call 833-2-OWNING or go to owning.com to see if you qualify for this crazy low 1 3/4% rate. That's a fixed rate loan at 1 3/4% with no closing costs. Call 833-2-OWNING now because 1 3/4 could go away at any time.
NMLS 2611, subject to credit approval. Call 833-852-6464 for terms and conditions. Equal housing lender.
That's 833-2-OWNING or owning.com. 833-2-OWNING or owning.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb. All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs. Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Staples Connect has everything for back to school at amazing prices. Right now, Crayola 12-count colored pencils and 10+2 Crayola marker bonus packs and Bic Round Stick Ballpoint Pen 10 packs are just 97 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back-to-school today and get more than ready for school. Ends 9/18, limit 30 on Crayola. Bic pens in store only.
Weekdays from 6 to 7. Catch the Dave Glover Show on 97.1. It's the best of each day, boiled down to 1 hour. The DGS Highlight Hour. Every weekday at 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Mr. Worldwide to infinity. You know the roof on fire. We go boogie, oogie, oogie, jiggle, wiggle, and dance like the roof on fire. We go drink drinks and take shots.
When will children under 12 be able to get vaccinated?
Soon, I believe. Now, look, one of the things that I committed to do when I got elected, I said,
How soon is soon, Mr. President? Not to
well, and that's what, let me finish the question. The answer. Soon, in the sense that I do not tell any scientist what they should do. I do not interfere. And so They are doing the examinations now, the testing now, and making the decision now.
Oh, brother. I got a round of applause for that. You don't tell scientists what to do. Okay. Oh, brother. Joe Biden last night. I'm sure most of you didn't watch it. I tried. I really did. I thought, just for the news value, I should watch the president of the United States talk. And I was out in like 5 minutes. I couldn't take it. I just couldn't take it.
Yeah. Anytime he says, here's what we're not doing, you got to go, are we sure? Let's look into this to see if you actually are doing this, because the CDC and people at the CDC have said multiple times now that their job is getting too political. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean I guess he personally isn't talking to them? Because it sounds like the administration is.
Yeah, no kidding. It's crazy land. All right, a couple quick stories here. I want to applaud Eric Clapton. I don't know if you've been following this. You guys are both musicians. You both play instruments, right?
I do.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll give it all to Jake. So we know what a great guitar player Eric Clapton is. Did you know that he got the vaccine and had a lot of problems with the vaccine? Did you know that?
I did. Yeah, I saw that news story. Yeah.
He said that his hands and feet were either frozen, numb, or hot, pretty much useless for 2 weeks after he got the first shot of AstraZeneca. He said he was worried he'd never play again. Can you even imagine? He said, I finally recovered and was told it would take 12 weeks before the second one. So he just obviously has got some concerns about it. But he's come out and said that unless there are provisions made for everybody to attend concerts, in other words, they're not segregating people by vaccines, he said, I'm not going to be there.
Okay, random question. Is Eric Clapton still doing a lot of concerts? Because I don't hear of him touring much, but maybe he is.
Well, I don't think anybody's toured much over the last year, but I think what it comes down to is he's the kind of guy who, when he shows up, everybody shows up because he's so amazing. Probably not doing a lot of, some of these bands, they got to keep going constantly because they're not, they're not that big. They're not going to fill that many arenas. It's not that big a deal that they're in town again. In Eric Clapton's case, obviously it's a big deal. But Boris Johnson in the UK stated on Monday, at the end of September, all people over 18 will have had their chance to be double jabbed. He said people entering nightclubs or other crowded venues will need to provide proof they've been vaccinated against COVID-19. To your point, Ryan, I don't know how big the outcry is or the demand for Eric Clapton. I don't know.
I bet you
really
he's playing venues like River City Casino here in St. Louis. It's like because there is a cool venue at River City Casino. But the only shows that whenever I was doing promo for a rock station, they was all like Eric Clapton and like older
classic artists.
Yeah, classic artists that are kind of
they can still pull pretty big crowds.
Oh, yeah, they can pull,
but
their
they're not
fans.
the current
right
people.
And just because I was curious, I had to find out how old he was. Do either of you know off the top of your head?
Yeah,
how old?
74, I think, right?
76.
Oh, I'm gonna have to give the dinger to somebody. That'll be Ryan, though.
Yes.
Eric Clapton, 76 years old.
Because we're looking at the story.
Yeah, we're looking at the story.
Oh, man.
Like
you still got it wrong, Heidi. You said 74.
She corrected herself right before I said it.
Yeah. Okay, do we get a prize anyway? This is 2021. I want a prize anyway.
Yes.
There you go.
You get Jake's shirt. Free shirt.
There you go. Fantastic. All right. Well, God bless Eric Clapton. Okay. Here's a story slightly disturbing, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. 24-year-old Tulsa, Oklahoma man has been charged with first-degree rape after he allegedly impregnated a 12-year-old girl. Here's what happened. He walks in. His name is Juan Miranda Jara. He walks into the hospital with a 12-year-old girl who was in mid-labor. And not embarrassed at all, by the way, not the least bit embarrassed. He told police he was the father, and he was confused about the commotion. She's 12. He's 24. He told police he and the child had, listen to this, been together for the past 9 months. I know, right?
This is bad. This is a bad story.
Tulsa police officer Danny Bean told the local TV station they walked in just like any other couple would be excited to deliver their newborn child. Apparently, police think that this guy was under the impression that he and the 12-year-old will be able to go home after they delivered the child. Yeah, you're leaving in cuffs, pal. I don't know where she's going.
If you're 12 years old, what does happen in that situation? Does the state say, okay, yeah, you are the mother, we want you to take care of your child? Or are you so young that they have to put you into some sort of protective custody?
I mean,
both
it's
you
still
and the baby.
her kid.
I agree. I agree. But what do you do in that situation?
Here's what would happen. First of all, they said that they don't believe it's an incest situation. Okay, so we'll go with that. So we'll just assume it's not a relative. All right,
yes, that's good.
So could be a cousin,
Oh.
I mean, obviously, it's somebody he had access to at all hours of the day and night, right? Not picking up a 12-year-old after school and taking her home. So I'm assuming it's, relative, cousin, somebody else's child, some girlfriend, who knows what the situation is, right? So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to assess who the child is, obviously, how he had access to her, who knew. Somebody probably knew something and didn't say anything.
Of course.
And not only that, the child's clearly not capable of raising a child on her own at 12. If she's got a mother who, maybe didn't know this. I mean, somebody's her mother. And if she's got her grandmother or somebody around who's responsible, who didn't know this was going on, then in my opinion, those people are the people that should have the baby if they didn't know this was going on. If they turned a blind eye, then that baby should go into, as far as I'm concerned, an adoptive home.
Where was this?
This was in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So I only know this just because we do some ministry in, highly Latin areas of St. Louis. My church does. That there's a lot of big families that live together in very close quarters in the Hispanic community. So you're right that there's almost no chance that these two people just hit it off out at the grocery store.
Where exactly did they
meet? The local playground. Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about a situation where somebody else had to know what was going on. But it sounds like the culture of their home, anyway, that they're living in, was such that everybody kind of said, well, as long as he's taking care of the baby, as long as he's taking care of her, that's okay.
Well, there are some people who think that way. There's no question. There are some people who actually think that way.
Not in America. We don't. That's not okay.
Well, no, that is not okay. And I'm assuming he's an American citizen. If he's not, he should be thrown out of the country. And I'd have to look at the whole family situation. If I were a social worker, I would say, let's look at what people are doing. Let's look at who's here, who's living in the home, who had access to the child, who knew what was going on and did nothing, and then decide from there as to whether or not this child should be, allowed to go back home with her.
It's just unfortunate because it hits home just because I've met so many people who are in these situations that you don't know. I mean, we find out a story like this because it's just such a crazy story. A guy walks into the hospital with her, but we don't know how often this kind of thing is happening to kids in any situation like this, not just within, Hispanic communities, but, if you've got kids and people living very close, because my wife was a teacher in inner city New Orleans for a long time too. You wouldn't believe the amount of abuse, and it happens everywhere. And it's just so like, it's a crazy story, but it speaks to a much larger issue in the United States that probably honestly was exacerbated by lockdowns from COVID.
Oh, probably so, because no kid's able to go to school to be able to let the teachers know if they feel like telling the teachers. A lot of times the whole thing with sexual abuse, and I consider myself fortunate that I have not dealt with that, but I know people who have, a lot of people who have, like we all do. When you can go to school and report it, maybe you do, but a lot of kids don't because there's shame. The family, somebody threatens them. I'll kill your dad. I'll kill your mom. I'll kill your sister. I'll kill your brother. I mean, the stories that I've heard and read about of people who've gone through this, it's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. And I guess this guy thought, it sounds like he thought culturally he wasn't doing anything wrong.
Yeah, or the kid doesn't know that it's abnormal. I mean, if you're 12 years old, you don't really have a grasp outside of the little culture that you're living within of what's normal. That's how you know what is normal. The people around you teach you the difference between right and wrong. And if they're failing at that job, you may not even know to report that kind of thing.
Well, that's the thing too. And I'll be honest with you, there are little girls who are very, they're maturing more than they used to at a very early age, who are actively chasing boys at that age. I'm not putting any of this on the girl. Please don't misunderstand me. But she might have been flattered that this older guy liked her. I don't know anything about the situation. There are 11-year-old girls like I was. I look like I was like 8 when I was 11. Okay. I just didn't mature that quickly. Other girls are curvy and they seem to be more mature, this and that. And they're, flirting with the boys. Depends on the environment they're involved in. If they're raised in a very sexualized environment. I mean, nowadays kids watch MTV and these girls are twerking like strippers on stage. I mean, this is how a lot of young women are taught unless they're raised correctly. So they go, oh, cool, this young guy likes me.
So what we're saying is MTV needs to go back to doing music videos.
Yes, thank you very much.
We'll start there.
Yes,
and we'll
start there.
We'll see how it goes.
But these girls are encouraged to act like porn stars in the time they're little kids in a lot of cases, if their parents aren't watching what they're exposed to. And even if you are watching, they're exposed to horrible things. So that's a big factor. And then I do think a lot of girls are maturing at, acting more, what's the best word? Precocious at younger and younger ages.
Yeah, I mean, that's all there, and a lot of it is the media that people, parents especially, and guardians are allowing kids to see. And either they know that it's out there and they're just kind of turning a blind eye and saying, yeah, but it's easier if I don't, or they're allowing it and they just don't care. It's very sad.
Well, that's what we don't know. We have to have a full investigation, obviously, what the girl's situation was, who knew and didn't say anything. Then where does this baby go? It probably should go to someone entirely different. But if she's got an extended family who can be trusted, then again, if this extended family thought this was all part of, hey, this is normal,
yeah, it's tough.
Then the child needs to go somewhere else. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Heidi Harris. This is the Annie Frey Show. I'll be back again tomorrow. Jonathan Hoenig will join us from the Fox Business Network. You see him every week on Cavuto on the Saturday show on Fox. Capitalistpig.com. He'll be talking about the economy and what's happening with inflation. That and much more tomorrow on the Annie Frey Show.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you have heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple on the station as the financial expert for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend on 97.1 FM Talk.